bitch. Oh, excuse you? Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry in. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch.
Hey y'all, welcome to Happy Thursday. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show we basically talk about all things going on in celebrity news, pop culture, hot topics. Even sometimes we might get a little political on this show. So that's a show for you. Definitely stick around because we have a lot of tea to spill today, including James Gunn already teasing he's working on a sequel to Superman. Plus, Marvel is giving us an inside look on what their next moves are. Black Panther 3, a young X-Men cast. But of course, Deadpool 4 and Blade, well, we don't care about Deadpool on account of Ryan Reynolds and all that other stuff coming out between him and his wife. But Blade, they saying it's not a top priority. So we'll get into that. Plus, Hostel, that crazy movie franchise, is heading to the small screen with a TV series. Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, I have some news regarding its fourth and final season. I have the latest on that South Park season premiere that Trump going around saying that South Park ain't been relevant. Well, apparently it is because I got the amount of millions of people that actually watched that premiere episode. So we're going to get into that. Plus Hulk Hogan. That I have to say this was quick because they already got the results of his, the cause of his death. So we'll get into that. Diddy still trying to get out of prison. And then I even heard that Trump may even think about pardoning him. So we'll get into that story. Plus, it came out earlier today. You probably all heard by now, but we'll get into Justin Timberlake revealing he got Lyme disease. So we'll get into that. Uncle Shay done lost his job over at the ESPN, and we'll get into that story. Plus, I have the latest on Michael Tait, because, we've talked about him a couple of times on this show. This old repressed homosexual went around abusing men, and apparently 8 of them have come out and accused him of SA, so we'll get into that. Plus, Alaska took to the Race Chaser podcast to apologize to Acid Betty over this whole paper dress drama that's been going on. I'll break that down. Plus, I believe yesterday, Drag Race Philippines, Slaysian Royale listed all the guest judges that's going to be on the show. Look, at least I'll say this: at least Slaysian is doing what the regular Drag Race should be doing, and that's having some of our favorite queens as guest judges. But we know Mama Ru don't like being upstage on her own show, so that's not going to happen. But the Slaysian girls, they got it going on over there, so we'll get into that and a whole lot more. So before we get to those topics, if you have not already, please hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I always have to find new ways of trying to entertain myself saying that, even though it's not even scripted. This is all from the dome. And of course, y'all know, after the live stream, I will be putting in timestamps so those who just want to jump in and get straight to the topics and don't want to sit through all the banner that we do during the live, y'all could do so by just clicking down in the description and clicking on the timestamp that tickles your fancy. I already see we got a lot of comments coming in. Y'all already know the deal. I'll get to it when once I'm done with the first topic. So enough of the yip yap. Let me hit my banner and let's get into topic number 1. Let's talk about James Gunn. So Superman's doing really well right now. You already know. I just heard that it is the first DC film in years to soar past $300 million domestically. We already know, so far, speaking of domestically, it's already beat Man of Steel. And I know some of y'all Snyder bros are probably upset. Whatever. I'm like, look, we have the Snyderverse. We have those films. You love them. That's great. I like Man of Steel. I like Batman v Superman, all the extended versions of it. I like the first Wonder Woman. All the other films. I mean, I even like Aquaman. I have a soft spot for that movie, even though that felt like a homoerotic shampoo commercial. A 2-hour one, but nevertheless, there's some good things going on with the Snyderverse. But we're not going to sit up here and try to act like that the Snyderverse was very divisive. It wasn't really bringing in a lot of the numbers that Warner Brothers had hoped. Hence why we're going through a whole reconstruction, courtesy of James Gunn. And even I had some people in the comments over on TikTok agreeing that Yes, the Snyderverse Superman really was. It felt like it was for a specific market. It was a little too dark. It felt more adult, and with this whole thing, they feel like Superman should be for general audiences. You want to bring in older people, you want to bring in younger people, you want to bring in kids, you want to bring in, the Gen X, Gen Z, maybe some Gen Alpha. So you want to try to hit every demographic. You even want to bring in some of the boomers because he is a would he be a boomer or a silent era superhero? Because he did come out in the 30s. So it's like almost about what, 80 years old? So, um, with that all being said, James Gunn had to come in. He made it more, grandiose for everybody to come aboard and like it. And of course, you have your people that like the film. I liked it. I saw it twice, once in Dolby, once in IMAX. And there's some people, of course, who hate it. And then there's some people who are just going to hate bomb it because they feel like they're doing a due diligence for Zack Snyder, even though Zack Snyder is sitting at home minding his business and living his life until his next project, whatever that may be, that he's going to work on. So with all that being said, James Gunn actually went on Threads because he loves being on social media, even though we're trying to act like he don't. And somebody went and asked him the following. So let's get into the story. Shout out to Superhero Hype for this, by the way. Says the Superman is playing in U.S. theaters, written and directed by Gunn, the DC studio, and Warner Brothers pick. As y'all know, stars David Corenswet, Rachel Brosnahan, and Nicholas Hoult. Superman, Lois Lane, and Lex Luthor. So, he did say, and I should point this out, that there is not going to jump right to Batman v Superman, which I'm actually glad because y'all did that with the last regime. And it felt like y'all were trying to play catch up with the MCU, whereas the MCU spent years building up to the Justice League. DC was trying to cut corners and get right to it. It's like, oh, some of these people didn't even earn getting to the Justice League part yet. So why are we even jumping to that? So, Batfleck didn't even get his own Batman. Wonder Woman didn't even get her own Wonder Woman movie yet before y'all done threw her in the Batman v Superman movie. So now on Threads, Gunn was asked by a fan if he now has time to relax, given that Superman is out and the press tour for the DCU movie is over. He said Peacemaker Press, because he did write that show, and Peacemaker is about to come out, the second season. And he said, and sequel writing. Now, when asked by another fan when he was going to tease the sequel for Superman, Gunn said, I just did. Come on, sarcasm. So he's pretty much telling y'all that I don't know why y'all sitting here acting like I didn't just tell you in like a post that I'm working on the script for Superman 2. Now, I hope what this means, I don't mind him writing it, but I feel like if you're gonna co-run with Peter Safran the DCU and try to make sure that everything is where it needs to be in regards of like churning out projects, quality projects. I don't know if I want James Gunn to come in and direct Superman 2, but I feel like he's the type that doesn't like any pushback. He wants to have control over everything, and there's probably gonna be some fighting within the whole situation. So, I don't know if I always thought like Peter Safran was more like the business guy and someone with the money because you don't really hear from him. James is the artistic guy. He's the one that's putting everything together, structuring everything, making sure everything comes out the way it needs to come out, approving of who's going to direct, who's going to write, who's going to come aboard and deal with whatever films it's going to be dealt with. But as far as like a Superman 2 goes, I feel like if you're an exec, I need you to be an exec. I don't need you to be an exec and also try to take 3 more years out of your time in between being an executive to direct the movie. Because when you're focusing too much on trying to make sure Superman 2 is what it needs to be, you're not focusing on these other projects that need to come out. And I saw this recent picture because we haven't heard anything about the Brave and the Bold, and I'm really hoping. Hold on, let me go to his page. So Brandon Sklenar, I saw this picture of him shirtless, giving muscles. Let me see if I can find it. And I was like, when I saw that, I was like, is this him trying to tell us that you about to be Batman? Oh yeah, I got it. Hold on. Because I don't know if y'all saw this. I was like, he was in the gym with his personal trainer and showed up this shirtless but I'm like, there's no other reason why this man looking like this unless he about to be man. And I've been rooting hard for Brandon Sklenar to be our new Batman because I don't know, it's just something about his voice. Like his voice is very deep, it's commanding. He's kind of got the look. I loved him on that show. Was it 1923 with Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford? He plays her son. I also liked him in Drop. He was really good in that movie. So he's a good actor. And then his trainer says, like, training one of my best friends for his biggest role yet has been a effing blast. We push through the hard days and maximize the good. This is the result of showing up day after day for months and months, hitting 2-hour grueling workouts and eating enough Elkin salmon to feed a freaking village. If you can, you should. And I think a lot of people was in the comments, even Jill Marini. Damn, where you been, Chad? There was a lot of people in the comments that were pretty much talking about he's playing Batman, he's playing Batman, he's playing Batman. And the trainer kind of been throwing little hints out there that he's been liking a lot of the posts. So it's got everybody wondering if he's playing him. But I'm sure that James Gunn has heard the words. We want Brandon Sklenar as Batman and the Brave and the Bold. I wonder who they'll pick to play Damian Wayne. I can't think of no little kid right now who'll be up for that. Maybe they have to go with an unknown. Well, unless y'all know some child actors out there that might be interested, throw it in the comments. And then we want Adria Arjona to play Wonder Woman. So those are my two choices. Because we already got Ben Affleck. We already got Pattinson playing Batman, but James Gunn already came out, even though I don't even want to know why we needed that confirmation. He already came out and said Robert Pattinson is not a part of the DCU. He's doing a separate Batman thing over there with oh my God, I forgot the director's name from that did the Batman. So he's a part of that whole thing. So I don't know why people actually thought that he was going to be a part of that. It was like, no, they're over there doing their own thing. Matt Reeves. So I knew it was going to come to me eventually. So anyway, let's get off of Brandon Sklenar. Let's stop meat riding Brandon Sklenar for a second, and let's go back to David Cornsweat. So, I'm here for this. Now, there's no official word when Superman 2 is going to be happening or how it will come out with the rest of the DCU, but I feel like, you got to focus on what's the next movie Supergirl's supposed to be coming out. They're already working on Clayface. We have Lanterns. I don't know what other project. They did say Wonder Woman's a priority, so they're already working on the script for that. The writer of Supergirl is currently working on Wonder Woman, so they're supposed to be working on that. I know, aren't we supposed to have that Themyscira show? I don't know why I got tongue tied saying that. The Themyscira series with the Amazonians and going to their island. I guess they were going to play that up like Great Game of Thrones, but just I was going to say a bunch of lesbian. Well, a bunch of Amazonian women living on there. So he also, prior to teasing Superman 2, he wrote a post discussing how to deal with online toxicity that certain fandoms espouse. It reads, if you see something toxic online, my advice would be don't interact with it. Attention only fans, the flames of online toxicity. It's one of the reasons I'm primarily on this platform. It isn't because there are fewer toxic people here, although there seemingly are. It's because it started out as an online culture more willing to let toxic personality in the back of the room shout himself hoarse and go away. When you shout back, you're making that voice relevant. He's saying you're giving it a sounding board. You are the midwife helping to birth that toxic voice into the world. You're helping to make a few thousand angry voices seem like millions. And to be clear, when I'm talking about toxicity, I'm talking about primarily about rage or cruelty. Well, there's a lot of rage baiters and bots and all that other stuff that goes online that they primarily put in place to trigger people. There was even a story that came out earlier in the week about that Trump and them have bots or whatever the case is, just to rage bait a lot of y'all. That's why I always tell y'all there is the Matrix and there's the real world. Because when I'm in the real world, I don't be interacting or encountering a lot of these keyboard warriors that be all over social media spewing about a bunch of stuff. And funny enough, there was somebody that I saw that decided to respond to my second video on Malcolm Jamal Warner and came up in there, well, you need to make sure you have all the information before you post. And I was like, you want to know something? I was about to go in and tell this bitch the SMD. But what I did instead was I'm like, I'm going to just hide up from my page. Bitch, you're blocked. I don't need you on my stuff because you're not even a subscriber. First of all, you and your one subscriber that you have over there on YouTube can go and play in traffic. I'm not giving that energy. And so in so many ways, I agree with James Gunn. It's like, you know what? You let the people know what's going on. You let them know what the priorities are. Sometimes I be feeling like he contradicts himself in some of the things he says. But nevertheless, I just feel like at this point, it's just like, don't even give it energy, because leave them arguing with themselves, because they'll look crazier, going back and forth with themselves. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of the story and what James Gunn had to say regarding the future of the DCU and the fact that we are getting a Superman 2? I mean, I wonder where they're planning on going with that. Look, all I ask is, can we less Superman getting his behind beat, because that was irritating me in this movie. I mean, I don't mind, get a couple of licks in. He should be able, but he shouldn't keep losing every time he fights. It's about I fight with love. It's like, we're not hippy dippy over. I mean, that the message was great. Love is the answer. I love that song, but I need Superman to also get in a couple of licks too. That, and I have a feeling like what may happen in Superman 2, because the engineer's not dead. I feel like she's probably gonna break Lex out of prison, and they'll go off and do whatever it is that they plan on doing to take down Superman yet again. So unless he is not going to be the primary villain, I do think they need to bring in a much stronger villain. But you could also have Lex in there hovering in the background doing his little side stuff. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Hold on, because we got a lot of comments. I mean, we knew we was going to get one. I just hope it's not going to take forever for us to get it. Hey, Magical Mermaid, how you doing? How you doing? He said Demi Lovato returns to her dance pop roots after 4 years of having a funeral for the genre, calling it basic and not whatever. I'm about sick of her bipolar ass. I mean, I don't know if she really have bipolarism, but she be getting on my nerves with the flip-flopping and whatever. I don't even care about her at this point, but I'm like, maybe I'll give her song a gander, but she be doing so much where I'm just like, if she don't go somewhere, South Park done made a whole lot of money. No way Betty burnt that dress. Okay. I saw a video of Megyn Kelly basically saying Diddy needs the electric chair. No, I'm not going to say what she need, because if I do, I'm going to get banned off this channel, and I've worked too hard to build this YouTube channel. So we're just going to move on from what this witch has to say, because she don't have nothing to say about Trump, but you want to go and drop racist dog whistles. The peanut gallery is in the house. I honestly don't understand why it's so hard to get Blade off the ground and get us. They already got one, but they wasting it. We got Mahershala Ali supposed to be playing Blade, but y'all sitting here wasting his time and his potential. First of all, the man is already in his 50s. Like, how long you gonna keep him? You waiting a couple more years, you may have to cast him as Whistler and find a younger damn person to play Blade. I honestly don't understand why it's so hard to get Blade off the ground. Get a smexy black man, put him in some leather, and have him stab some vampires. That's what I say. It's not rocket science. We trying to crack the code. There is no goddamn code. What are you talking about? But we'll get to that in a second. I don't want to shoot my load all before we get to this. I want to edge y'all a little bit. You better Aquaman Axe body. Okay? Get that Axe body spray. We are close to 50 million in sales. I know what you did last summer, so Sony should announce a sequel soon. Yes, and make sure Jennifer Caden Robinson is not back to write and direct. Ask Christopher Landon, pretty much get on y'all knees and beg him to write and direct that movie. Oh, he's definitely getting laid. If you've seen that movie, he was all over Rachel Brosnahan. What was her name? Lois Lane. Capital Superman promoted stuff. Okay. Oh, you seen Brandon? Onyx is in the building. You talking about that Batwoman? First of all, I saw there was a leak on YouTube. It was a trailer of some of the stuff that they filmed. That I'm so glad they did a tax write-off on that. It looked terrible. Like worse than an episode of a CW series. It was just bad. It looked bad. It looked cheap. I don't know what the hell happened. And you can make a 70, 80, 90 million dollar movie look like it's expensive. Ask Gareth Edwards. Gareth Edwards. Who was it? The guy that just directed even though that movie was terrible. The new Jurassic World. He also directed a bunch of I think he directed who was it? Not the series that's the movie that's based on Andor. He directed that. I don't know why I'm drawing a damn blank today. And he also directed that movie, The Creator, which wasn't good, but visually it looked good with John David Washington. Brandon can play Mitten. Okay. Aren't they all? I mean, look, they saying Danny Ramirez is straight too. He out here and look. And the word on the curb is Jessica Alba is so smitten with him and they fast relationship. She's ready to introduce him to her kids. I'm like, bro, slow your roll. I mean, just because it's been a minute since Cash was sowing them wild oats, don't necessarily mean you got to jump on the first man you see. Cause he probably was like, and I know, Danny probably looking at, probably in the back of his head, like, I've been pining for this girl since I was a little boy, and now you out here punching like one of the girls of your dreams. Cause she's about what, 11 years older than him or something. She's like, 44, and he's like 33 or 32. Now themmies. New song doesn't sound too good based on the snippet, and the children of the internet are calling it a brat copy and paste. Her new look is also being compared to. That's why I said the one thing I could never get into about, as you say, themmy, because we don't know what part of the binary she want to call herself today. She doesn't. It seems like she never has a sense of who she is as a person. She basically likes to play gender hopscotch. Like what today she's this, today she's that. Then she wants to marry a man. Then she's then don't call me she, call me they. It's like, girl, I understand we all evolving, but it just seemed like you be doing too much for attention. Did you see that Duncan also released a celebrity commercial mentioning genetics? The guy in the commercial is in a show I watched too. I'd rather get Starbucks raspberry syrup. No, I did not see that, but I did see when I was coming home, I think yesterday, I saw like they got Sydney Sweeney got herself a drink and for Duncan. I'm like, damn, what's this bitch just doing commercials now? One minute she's doing a denim ad, now she's doing drinks for freaking trying to copy of Sabrina Carpenter. Now she's doing drinks for Dunkin' Donuts. It's like all of a sudden everybody, now she a commercial queen. I guess maybe the commercials play more than the movie she's doing. All right, but anyway, let's go from DC straight to Marvel, and let's get into some MCU news. So now, while the future of Deadpool, Blade, and the X-Men within the MCU is still being developed, it seems like they're not currently the highest priority projects for Marvel Studios. So instead, what I'm hearing is that they're shifting towards a Black Panther sequel, which we already knew that that's what Ryan Coogler was going to be working on as a follow-up to Sinners. That he would be working on a Black Panther 3, because I know a lot of people was running around saying that they would rather Ryan Coogler be perfect to direct an X-Men movie, which I do think is I will agree with. But we need to get Black Panther 3 out, and we need to get ourselves a new T'Challa and carry that on. Because I know, like, what threw everybody for a loop, I truly believe they were trying to shape Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther to kind of be like the new Captain America, Iron Man, like in the next phase once Endgame and everything wrapped. Unfortunately, we lost Chadwick to cancer, so they had to shift some things. And it would have been nice if y'all could have looked into maybe Simu Liu's Shang-Chi, but y'all only gave him one damn movie. Where's the sequel to that? And I'm surprised nobody's bringing that up. Like, what's going on with Shang-Chi? Shang-Chi was good. It made a lot of money at the box office. So what the hell is taking y'all so long to give us a sequel? So within all of that, after now that Fantastic Four First Steps came out, now we have, I guess, their next projects, and their priority is Spider-Man Brand New Day. That's supposed to come out on July 31st of next year. And then we have Avengers Doomsday in December 2026 and Avengers Secret Wars in December 2027. So they bumped it, and now we got to wait a year in between for those movies. So it probably won't be until about 2028 before we get these other projects. So, and then so far, globally, I should say Fantastic Four First Steps has brought in a whopping 218 million, but that's only because it's out for a week. So we'll see how much it makes this upcoming weekend. So now, as Superman 2 weeks prior, the Superman movie's overseas haul, excuse me, 100 million included an anemic 4.5 million from China, offers a stark reminder of how much things have changed since pre-COVID days and when the tripwires live for the Disney-owned studio, which has ambitious plans for 2 Avengers movies in 2026 and 2027, followed by an X-Men reboot further out on the horizon. Now, by contrast, Avengers Endgame nabbed 614 million from the Middle Kingdom alone in 2019. It's funny when they say Middle Kingdom, I be thinking about like Middle Earth or something very much out of Game of Thrones. So they said there's a reset of what a hit is, and I don't see them consistently hitting 1 billion as before without China, the Disney Plus exposure post-COVID without megastars, said one top agent who represents several clients in the Marvel universe. China used Marvel, Disney, and the US film industry to seed their own. As one insider of the Lost China windfall, saying we are never going to have those days again. And yeah, now I'm hearing like they've even left Atlanta because no, before Disney used to shoot a lot of their stuff in Atlanta. Now they're in the UK. Like Avengers, the new Avengers movies are shooting over in the UK, and Spider-Man is shooting in the UK. I'm sure they'll probably do location shoots in New York, which actually they were showing. I saw John Bernthal was just shooting out in Queens. I saw that footage over because he plays the Punisher, and the Punisher is going to be in the new Spider-Man movie. So they're currently shooting his stuff in Queens. I'm sure they're going to be shooting more stuff out here, but I guess for the more extravagant stuff, they will be taking the shoot over to the UK, probably for the tax incentive, because with everything here and this idiot in chief that they got running every damn thing, everything is going up. And y'all thinking that we not going, like everything's going to go down and he's going to cut. No, that man don't know how to do that. I mean, have you ever heard of someone bankrupting casinos? Like, you really think that if somebody who bankrupted 2 casinos knows anything about business and running a successful business, that you don't know nothing about business? So now, as one insider, and then they said the reality has changed. The calculus at Marvel, led by Kevin Feige, when it comes to making a movie like X-Men. Thunderbolt's helmer, as you already know, Jake Schreier, because we did that story the last time we were on, is set to direct the tentpole, with the studio fine-tuning Michael Leslie's script. Now, casting will begin soon and the field is wide open, but Marvel has indicated to reps that it is looking for younger talent rather than A-listers. And of course, y'all know why they're doing this, because it is cheaper to go with a bunch of unknowns, which makes sense because if you actually looked at the old X-Men movies, nobody knew who Hugh Jackman was. Nobody knew who Anna Paquin really was. I mean, she had done things here and there. I think this was even before she was on True Blood, but nobody really knew who Anna Paquin was. Nobody knew who Shawn Ashmore was. Nobody knew who a lot of the character people were. I mean, the only ones in the movie that had like bigger status would be Halle Berry, and this is me thinking off the top of my head. Well, Rebecca Romijn, Ian McKellen, and Patrick Stewart. But everybody else was like relatively unknown, well, I wouldn't say that would be like their first movie that they've done, but it's unknown in the sense of like they come from like the small screen. Some of them done a little TV, independent films, and then went off and did the whole major movie situation. So it does make sense that they should go in a more cut the cost situation, because people aren't going to see X-Men for, some big name being on the marquee. People are going to see X-Men because it's X-Men. It's the characters. People love the comic. So that's what you're going for. You want, and seeing if these people, whoever they pick, do these characters justice. I mean, that's how I'm thinking it in my head. I'm not going to see some major A-lister in the part, because I feel like they'll take me right out of the movie because I'll be so distracted. Like if you made Sydney Sweeney Emma Frost, I'm like, no. So then they also said, sources say it won't be filled by X-Men. Marvel declined comment for the story. Oh, because it was on Marvel is holding July 23rd, 2027 on the release calendar. So people think that July 23rd, 2027 is when the new X-Men movie is coming out. This has not been confirmed by Marvel, so we don't know what exactly that thing is. But I do feel like right now they are quietly casting this X-Men movie, and I do think that they will start shooting this movie in 2026. I feel it in my gut that that's what's going on. Now, while Matt Shakman's Fantastic Four features a bona fide TV star and Pedro Pascal, who has made his mark on the small screen in everything from The Mandalorian to The Last of Us, well, y'all need to say Game of Thrones, because that's where we discovered him from there. Even though, yes, he had this little part on Buffy the Vampire Slayer like 20-some odd years ago, but still, Pedro Pascal, how I became first aware of him was when he did that episode of Game of Thrones where he was that bisexual. I forget what his actual profession was. Then he came in and he went and fought the giant, and the giant went and basically gouged his eyes out. And then Pedro was saying in the interview that people actually, I think his name was Oberyn. Pedro was basically talking about that people wanted him to take pictures. That people wanted him to take pictures with them of them putting their fingers in his eyes. And he said he would let them. So he seems very much like very open and affectionate and stuff. But I'm like, you can get an eye infection. These, 9 times out of 10, I can. People do not wash their hands. People are gross, and you're not putting your hands on my face if I don't know where they've been. Like, I'll take a regular picture. You can throw up a peace sign. I'll put my arm around you or whatever. But no, you're not putting your hands in my eyes. Because then if I end up with an eye infection and I had to get LASIK surgery, it's on and popping. So they said, well, Matt Shagman's, so after the whole Mandalorian Last of Us situation, they said he hasn't yet scaled the same big screen heights as the Endgame ensemble, and that helped keep the Fantastic Four budget manageable. Disney hasn't given a precise figure on the film's budget, only pegging it as somewhere north of $200 million. That's still a lot of money for a movie. Avengers Doomsday will feature at least one mega payday because that's where all the goddamn money's going. It's going to Robert Downey Jr., who I still don't understand how the hell y'all giving him the role of Dr. Doom. I'm always going to see him as Tony Stark, but like I said, y'all going to have to convince me otherwise when I see this movie. So they said that he's returning to the Marvel fold as Dr. Doom, as already stated. Now, sources say Downey has earned between $500 million and $600 million over the course of 7 Marvel movies and 3 cameos, and won't be working at a discount on Doomsday. Neither will Chris Hemsworth, who's returning as Thor. As for who will be the star of the film, sources say Pascal is not the centerpiece, but does have an integral role. Regardless, the tentpole is on schedule to open December 18, 2026. Yeah, because I'm sitting there like, this man he probably already has like at least, if we're talking about he made between 500 and 600 million over being a part of the whole MCU, which is well deserved because he built himself up to that. But when they're trying to bring him back, how much money did y'all have to spend to bring him back? And then talk about, we got to cut costs, we got to do this, we got to do that. Oh, he wanted to come back and I shot him this idea. I'm like, okay, this is a money grab. So it might be cool to have him come up in there because y'all are so desperate for a star to get the MCU back on track. But if you went and broke the back to the Brinks truck and paid him north of 300 million to get him to come back and do these 2 movies, but then y'all got to cut costs everywhere else because y'all had to spend so much money to get Robert Downey Jr. to do this part, and the fans aren't feeling it, then that's on y'all, because there's been too much of a complaint in the industry that y'all are overspending on a lot of y'all movies. There are ways that you can make a movie like an X-Men or whatever, you don't need to spend $400 million on certain movies for them to look really cool, which is why I heard this whole story of Gareth Edwards. Some people were I don't know if it was true or not, but I remember hearing the story of someone saying that there was somebody was looking to Gareth to see like how he's able to make a moderately budgeted movie look like they spent $200-300 million on it. I'm sure it's not that hard if y'all hire the right amount of people that can come in and make your movie. Like, there are ways that you can make a movie that is on a micro budget, whatever the case is, look like you spent $100-200 million on it. There are people out there that really know how to crunch a penny and make stuff look convincingly good and expensive. Some people just think, oh, well, we just have to have 300 million, and then we're just throwing everything up in there because you need to, I guess, show that you spent all the money the way you need to spend it, and then y'all end up in the red. So Wall Street, they said, is also keeping close tabs on Marvel as elements of its expanded portfolio fall into place, including the integration of 20th Century Fox's assets like Fantastic Four, X-Men, and last year's Deadpool and Wolverine, which earned $1.3 billion worldwide. Saying Marvel is a critical piece to Disney's overall premium IP, and the stronger Marvel is, the better it is for the overall company. The recent studio momentum has allowed Disney to help drive subscriber growth at Disney Plus, which I don't understand how, because y'all barely have anything on there worth watching. I pay for Disney Plus and I barely watch it. Like, I'm still even contemplating whether or not I want to get rid of it. I was like, there's nothing really on this channel. They said there won't be much to analyze for the next year. The next Marvel movie to hit theaters is Spider-Man on July 31st. And we already talked about that, so I don't know why they're repeating themselves. Now, they also went on to say this, because let's get to the good stuff. They said Marvel's brain trust is feeling no sense of urgency on the long gestating Blade reboot or even a Deadpool outing. Sources say, however, ideas are percolating on a Ryan Coogler helmed Black Panther 3, creating excitement internally. Ultimately, Marvel is thrilled. It has brought Fantastic Four, a tricky property that proved vexing in the past. Because, yeah, it was like they had a hard time trying to, I guess, make Fantastic Four work on the big screen. However, they figured it out this time because this was a good movie, in my opinion. But as far as the Blade thing, I just don't understand what the hell is taking out so long trying to figure out a story. I remember hearing that, or maybe a lot of you guys aren't aware, but Ruth Carter, I think is her name, who does a lot of the costumes. She did a lot of the costumes for, well, I would say Black Panther, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. There was some costumes she was working on for Blade because apparently the idea they came up with, it was supposed to take place in the 30s. Now, and then so Ryan Coogler, I guess, took some of a lot of the costumes and ended up using it for Sinners. Now, I do think it would have been a really interesting idea to place Blade down in the 1930s, but when we're talking about the MCU, that wouldn't have worked simply because the MCU, in my opinion, is not trying to dealing with no issues regarding the antebellum South, dealing with slavery, Jim Crow, all of that stuff. So that's sensitive waters for them, and they don't want to come out, oh, it's wrong, coincidence was that. So history, knowing about history and the way Black people have been treated for 400 years is wokeness. Okay, so white people, I guess, they were just tired of. They didn't want to make a divisive film. They didn't want white people feeling bad, even though it was your ancestors that was doing it. We're not necessarily saying you did it, but it hit dog or holler, and you see how they react. So they were like, let's just make it modern day, which we were like, duh, nobody asked y'all to make a period piece. We were expecting you to make a modern day Blade movie. I just don't understand how it's so hard for y'all to make a movie about a vampire hunter who slays vampires. Like, it's not that hard. But apparently they just over here wasting this damn IP. I feel like if y'all don't have no ideas regarding Blade, let it go to a studio that somebody knows what the hell they want to do with it, or call up David S. Goyer and let him have a crack at it. He is the one that was able to find a way to bring Blade to the big screen with Blade, Blade 2, and Blade Trinity. But we don't count the last one. We only count the first two because we like the first two. Everybody's allowed their little mistake. Dave Goyer has improved in many of the years that he's written, produced, all of that stuff. So I say, let him have another crack at it. Because if you do, then we'll like it. But I know a lot of people just want to focus on, but Blade Trinity's up. Okay, that's one. We got two movies out of the three. We got two that was good. But y'all mad about the one. That's not good math. It's like you would think that the more projects would be better, not the one that y'all want to harp on. But a lot of people like to focus on that one. They like to nitpick, but whatever. Y'all ain't no real damn Blade fans. Y'all just bitchins or like the bitch. But anyway, let me bring it back because I'm going off on a side tangent. But nevertheless, I'm looking forward that we're getting a new Black Panther. Now that we paid homage to Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther, let's get this shindig back on track and give us a good Black Panther movie where we can move the franchise forward. Figure out what y'all need to do with Blade. Deadpool, I am not all that enthused. Like, okay, if that's not the top priority, that's fine. Because after Deadpool and Wolverine was good. Y'all could just leave it at that and just be done with it. Me personally, I don't think we need another damn Deadpool movie because I've never found I just felt like a lot of the humor in there is just like childish and stupid. Now I like silly toilet humor and all that other stuff. It was just a lot of the jokes wasn't landing for me. There was cool things in the movie that I liked, but for the most part, them jokes was just stale. It's like going to a Matt Rife concert. You heard the jokes once, we move on. You hear them jokes again, it ain't as funny. So I'll say all this the same. What do you guys think of this story in regards to what they were saying regarding Black Panther 3, a young X-Men, keeping the cost down, the fact that they can't figure out what the hell to do with Blade? And Deadpool 4 is not a top priority right now. I do feel like if you made the announcement damn near 7 years ago that Blade was going to be a part of the situation, then it needs to be a top priority. I'm sorry. All these other things y'all got going on is not a top priority. Blade should be a part of the top priority. But I guess because of the way things have gone on with Disney Plus and all of the other stuff that was going on with that, y'all are kind of looking at it as like, damn, I think we spoke a little too soon. We had this idea. It wasn't working because just things just weren't working the way we want. And we just don't know how to tell people that, maybe we've made a mistake trying to push Blade out here so quick and in that whole situation. But that's on y'all. But now you owe us a Blade movie because you got us waiting damn near 8 years for a damn Blade movie. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I said, no, we don't. Yeah, that's what I said. That last one was good. And look, and I also forgot to mention, we need to move on from Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. It's time, like, if y'all gonna reboot the whole X-Men thing, reboot it. We don't need if you want to make him young, make him young. I even said Taron Egerton, I would think would make a really good Wolverine, even though he just said he don't see him, like, he's not the good choice to be James Bond. So he don't want to do James Bond because he said that consumes a lot of your life. But if he play Wolverine, I'll be here for that. He's been kicking a lot of butt lately in a lot of the projects he's done. He's on that show Smoke with Journey Smollett on Apple TV Plus. I got to finish that show, but it was good for what I saw. So a new Spider-Man movie exactly 365 days from now, and filming started this week. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what I said. I saw John Bernthal and Queens filming. Ryan signed a 12-movie contract for Deadpool with Fox. Disney has to oblige the contract or pay him $500 million to leave the franchise, what is likely because he's bad. Look, I don't know how you go and sign 12 movies. I don't even think he has 12 movies in him. So I don't think that's going to happen. Oh, we gonna get. Look, I got an update on that story, so stay tuned. Miss Mamas, you tried it. Magical Merman said it didn't even look like RDJ in the Fantastic Four post credits. I don't even think that was him. I think because if you saw Fantastic Four post credit scene, that was the scene that I said there was a rumor. Somebody went and spoiled that. Like one of the scoopers. I don't know if it was Daniel RPK, one of them. But they said there was a scene that was shot of Sue Storm reading to Franklin. And she goes, I guess, to go do, I forgot what it was that she did. Pick up another book or something or another. And she comes back, and Franklin is, I guess, touching Dr. Doom's face, and he's holding the helmet on the side, which I'm like, you could have kept the helmet on. We know who you are with the green hoodie and all that other stuff. You need to be like, oh, I gotta hold the helmet on the mask on the side. So you was like, that shot was stupid. Y'all should have left that on the cutting room floor. But you could have left the mask on, and he could have just like turned his head to the side, and you could see a little bit of the chrome, mask. If they would have did something like that, that would have, I felt like, been cooler because they're like, oh, true, look who it is. But yeah, I don't think that was him. I think that was, they probably had a stand-in shoot that part because they did say that the Russos shot that scene. I don't think people would want to see 12 Deadpool movies, but that's what I was like. He may have signed that all he wants, but a lot of times artists sign contracts and things happen. They don't all go all the way. They don't always go all the way through saying that, yeah, you're going to make 12 movies. It's virtually impossible that you would have. I don't even think any superhero movie has been able to, that we're making 12 movies. Sometimes they'll do about 3 or 4. The highest is 6 or something or another, or 3 or 4, but they don't really go like 12. And yeah, he's already in his 40s, so I cannot see him doing all that. And you know how long it takes to write a script and shoot a movie and edit and all that stuff? Like it's a lot of, it takes a lot of time. Only way to solve Marvel budget is to fire all the established actors and go to they're not trying to do that because at one point they want, like they were saying, they want stars. They need big names. They don't have, after phase 3, they don't have, which was Captain America, which was Chris Evans. as Captain America, and you had RDJ, and you had Thor, and you had Scarlett Johansson. So you had your trifecta people, and then you got Jeremy Renner talking about, yeah, he's willing to come back and play Hawkeye for season 2, which quiet as it's kept, I don't think it's getting a season 2, but he thinks it's happening. So as much as I like Jeremy Renner, let's keep hope alive. So I don't fit. That's another thing too. They need to stop with the influencers. Stop having influencers interview your celebrities like Pedro, and because you know what's the thing that pisses me off with a lot of these influencers? A lot of them not doing their research. What's some boys that went and just interviewed Netanyahu? The Nelk boys, I think is their name. The fact that they didn't even those questions were sent to them to ask Netanyahu. If you're going to hold on, let me take this out because I got to talk to you hoes that come up in here doing this influencing shit. If y'all going to do some influencing, if you're going to actually have a big audience and try to get them to watch your stuff, do the homework. Actually take the time to do the damn research. I'm not a journalist, but although I did create my own little, in high school, my own little magazine where I was doing celebrity news and gossip and writing all the other stuff. So I would read a lot of the tabloids, and I was coming in with my little pictures and my glue and all that. So I created my own little thing in school. Yes, I was that much of a nerd. That's how far back it goes for me in regards to doing the gossip thing. So even though I don't have a journalistic degree, I've always taken the integrity of what journalists do seriously. And a lot of people who have like thousands and thousands and thousands of followers, y'all don't take the time to do the work. There was even another influencer who went and interviewed Vanessa Kirby and Pedro and asked them a question and then had to admit when they found out that the question was incorrect. Oh, I got it on Chat GPT. So here y'all cheating. You're going on Chat GPT. You're using things to try to get because you're happy to sit in front of a celebrity. But it's like, if I'm going to sit in front of a celebrity, I'm going to do my due diligence and ask them questions. And if you do some ish, hold your feet to the fire. Similar to what Crystal Ball did in that recent takedown she did of Elise Locken. I was living for that. I was like, yeah, get her, Jade. Hold her feet to the fire. But yeah, I don't like the whole thing with a lot of you influencers. Y'all gotten really lazy. You're not journalists. But I think a lot of times these studios bring them in because they know they're not going to rock the boat. They're so happy to be in the room. We'll just throw a little something. We'll give them a little t-shirt and a hat and invite them to the screening so they could go around and say, oh, I went to the premiere of this, and this, even though if you don't give a crap about the movie. And my thing is, if I have a passion for something, I'm going to show that I genuinely care. So if I'm getting an invite to go to the Grammys or the VMAs or whatever the case is, I'm there because I love the music and I love the artist, and I'm going to really tell y'all the tea when I come back, like I do when I do the red carpet or blue carpet, for this is the last one, for Drag Race and all the other stuff. Like, I'm going to give y'all the inside tea. Honestly. I wish more influencers would do that. It's like, and if you don't never get an invite, okay, and no sweat off my ass, I'ma still talk. I'll just have people behind the scenes slipping and telling me some stuff. But yeah, I don't even think they care about the NDAs because yeah, they be out here leaking and spoiling things. And I remember there was somebody, I think it might have been Jeff Snyder or something that said that was like, oh, I thought you're supposed to honor the NDAs, but a lot of people be up in here saying all kinds of stuff. Because there was some story, I think it was Jurassic World, one of them movies that came out, and people was violating. I think it might have been Superman actually. People was violating the NDAs. I'm like, the embargo was not lifted. Why y'all here talking? Not blading the gay tomb. Who be the gay tomb? Hannibal King? Should have gone, gave it to Sony. I don't know, because Sony be so. I don't be liking how Sony be developing a lot of stuff. Let's not forget, their Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man in it. A lot of those movies were terrible. Morbius, Craven the Hunter. Let's not forget the Mother Bros. Was it Madam Web? All that trash. Well, these sequels and movies get still no homosexual superheroes. Okay, 12 movies. How old is he? I think Ryan Reynolds is like 47, 48. Might be younger than that. I know he's in his mid 40s. Oh, even Felix said it. He said he might be 48, but it seems like a lot of actors want more reality based roles. Well, I like escapism, but I feel like if you're gonna make escapism, the characters have to be somewhat relatable. Yeah, I think he's like 48. I think he was born in like 1977 or something. I remember Sebastian Stan signed up for 20 movies in his deal, but cameo. Yeah, all of that counts when you show up yeah, I forget that they do that. It's like it's not just a solo movie. It's like if you show up, you could show up in Shang-Chi, you could show up in the Eternals, you could show up in the Captain America movie, you could show up in the Avengers movies, you could even show up in Hawkeye season 1 and season 2. So all of that counts as part of the deal. So that could be what they meant. Legacy actors, characters. I think X-Men is about 10 movies so far between. Some of them I don't even count because how bad they were, including Dark Phoenix. That movie was just unwatchable. But Logan is like one of my favorites. That's actually where I met Hugh Jackman. I told you I was in the elevator with him. Let me tell you something. Hugh Jackman is fine as hell. When I was like, and I had to go bring him in the elevator too. When I was working at AMC, and I'm like, we standing next to each other, and I told him I told you I got so starstruck, I dropped my phone. He and I had a little rapport with each other, and we started laughing, and that was the extent of my situation. I was like, but I'm sitting there dying on the inside. I'm like, oh my god, this man is fine. But yeah, Hugh Jackman is like very good looking in person. He said the press tour for First Steps was also very random. They said, why were they at the New York Times making pizza? Yeah, they was always making them do like weird stuff. I was like, I'm not here to make no damn pizza. I'd rather eat it. But I ain't here making no freaking what it's supposed to show like I'm relatable by making a pizza. Like, I mean, I understand that maybe if this was sponsored by Domino's, I could be doing that. But why the hell am I at the New York Times building making pizzas? Make it make sense. Yeah, y'all be having actors do dumb shit now. If I were to give college another try, I would major in journalism. I've always been an interest of mine. And I also, being an editor for my high school yearbook, well, you know what? If that's something you want, I was like, yeah, you should definitely look into that. I can't stand people that use Chat GPT for everything. It's even worse. That's what one of my friends, my coworkers, when we was at the Garden yesterday, was, yeah, I'm snitching. He was using Chat GPT to make him like, because he's going to there's some WWE thing that's going on at oh my god, I forgot. What is it? Oh my god, I can't remember where the stadium in I think it was like the stadium or whatever in Jersey. The one that Beyonce did the Cowboy Carter tour. I think that's where he's going. But anyway, he's going to some event, some WWE event, and he was having Chat GPT make him like these VIP what you call it? Like not wristbands, but like something you could wear like around your neck or whatever. And I'm like, how you even know it's going to look like what you have in Chat GPT create? He said it's even worse when it's a college student trying to become a nurse/doctor. I actually studied and wrote my own ish. Okay. And that's why you get a lot of people out here that be accusing a lot of kids of using Chat GPT to write stuff. Child, I hate it too. I fear for the future generations because they're not only getting intellectually lazy, but getting dumber. Well, look, we could thank our government for that because they want to keep everybody stupid. Like, damn, are we so lazy here in America that we can't do a web browser? Apparently, nobody likes to read. Nobody likes to do this stuff. It's like I told about that witch that tried to come for me talking about, well, you need to make sure that you got all your information before you post or you write or you talk about it. And I'm like, well, you know, Google is your friend too, bitch. Like you can, if you feel like this ain't the information, you can look it up yourself. You don't have to depend on me to tell it to you. And y'all already know the situation because I'm like, I reported what was reported at the time, and I wasn't the only one. There was there were even pundits when I found this out a day later, actually, because I saw it like as I was scrolling on YouTube. There's even pundits that have way more followers than me. I'll even say it. Lovely T, who has over 1 million followers, posted the same thing. I ain't see your little no neck stank ass run over there and write that in her comments. Did you sense Skittle energy while you was on the shut up? And yes, there are also no talk shows on late night TV to push films. It's very weird to promote anything. TV shows, yeah, that's true, because the podcasters, everybody's going on there, and I feel like the way late night television is going, they need to revamp it. I feel like late night TV, honestly, I think like late night TV could definitely work in a YouTube space simply because you have more time. Like you could do like we could something what I'm doing now could be a late night show. Although what I would do is that I would have people come in. I've always had the dream. Like my dream is to have a late night show. It'd be me, a guest could come on. I want to do it like Robin Bird back in the day. Like we have go-go dancers, we got a half-naked bartender. Like I want to do all of that upon the show. So that way everybody come in, they sipping their drink, having a good old time. We have celebrities come on, we have singers and performers. Sidebar. Did y'all see Pink Pantheress perform on what the hell's his name? Jimmy Fallon? That was a cute performance. And it was like she had to do a medley. I'm like, yeah, she got to do a medley. All her damn songs is under 2 minutes. So you can't get up there and do like one song and call it a day. Her songs last about as much as a freaking tweet. That's how short her damn songs were. But I did like her performance though. It was cute. But yeah, I think it's like the way that a lot of the things are now, it's hard to do a late night show. So that's why a lot of them don't do it anymore. And plus, the old guard of late night has gotten so boring. Why do I have so many messages? Somebody went and sent me 13 text messages. It's probably my work group chat. Oh, wait. They said Corey was going to do a Trader season 1, but MTV said no. Oh, they talking about Corey from The Challenge. First of all, why wouldn't they put him on there? I'm gonna have to look at that later on. I'd have been like Corey, or they would have had Nelson on there. At least he got one leg. That could happen when they're doing the traders. Okay, so you said being alone with Hugh Jackman in the elevator, as Brenda from Scary Movie once said, or you could all watch. Okay, yeah, it was WWE SmackDown. Thank you. So you know what I'm talking about. He was about WWE SummerSlams. He's going to that at MetLife. That's what I was like. I cannot remember the name of that damn. I said the place Beyonce did her Cowboy Carter tour in Jersey. That's where he going. $40,000. Oh, they out there damn mind. And you know people will pay for that too. Mm-hmm. I saw it already, but I'll probably watch it again. That's coming out this weekend. And then Shudder has Clown in a Cornfield coming out next week, which I'm actually looking forward to. I was actually going to rent that, but I was like, I'll wait another week. Sidebar, shout out to Shudder because they did a really good, Variety did a really good interview with them because their 10-year anniversary is coming up. I was like, damn, they've been around for 10 years? I mean, over a decade? Or a decade? You will have a late night. Yes, I believe it. I'm not gonna say I shouldn't be up here telling all my plans because you know they be haters watching and they're gonna try to find a way to staying with it. You can do whatever. Y'all just can't. But you know. But I'll say this: you could steal or do whatever. Steal away. You ain't got this personality. That's mine. I don't. I didn't care enough about the Pink Panther's performance to sit through. She definitely needs to upgrade that stage presence though, because I'm like, girl, what are you doing? It was given. You ever seen that video of Moi Renee doing Miss Honey? It's on YouTube, and it's like the dancers and all of them wasn't in sync. That's what it was giving. Although when Moi Renee was doing, that was like public access TV. That was just like we just randomly out here moving and performing. So we didn't care because when you on a budget, you could just perform how you perform. But ma'am, you got a whole situation going. You could have spent a little more time rehearsing that. But the songs was about though. Vincent Mann survived. Oh yeah, we talked about that last week. Well, no, the last show, but that tea came out last week. Apparently, Thursday is when that stuff came out. But anyway, y'all, let's get back with the show. And let's talk about Hostel. So I don't know if there's any Hostel fans in the building. I did like the movies, the first two, I should say. I love the first Hostel. You know, that I think I don't know. Is it safe to say that movie kind of launched this whole torture corn type of trend that was coming out with a lot of those type of movies? So I like the first two. I heard there was a third one. I don't remember. I don't know. I never saw it. But they said it was a third one. And then I was hearing rumblings that a new TV series was supposed to be coming about. Sidebar, what's going on with Thanksgiving? Like, what's going on with Thanksgiving too? But So I had heard rumblings that we were going to be getting a Hostel TV series, and it was going to be on Peacock. So now we've got official word that is happening. So Variety has learned exclusively that the TV extension of the horror film franchise is currently in development at NBC Universal Streamer. The show was previously reported to be in the works in June of 2024, but no platform was attached at the time. As originally reported, one of my favorite actors, Paul Giamatti, is attached to star in the series, with Hostel mastermind Eli Roth set to write, direct, and executive produce. I was going to say, I don't know about that, but if he could find a way to write it and make it interesting, then I'm here for it. I mean, like I said, but I did say I liked the first two, so he wrote and directed all of them, those two. So I guess it's in good hands. Although I did have issues with Thanksgiving. That movie was thoroughly entertaining. The kills and all this stuff was entertaining. It was just weak in other parts, particularly some of the dialogue. But in like you had your Gen Zers speaking. So they said Chris Briggs and Mike Fleiss, who have produced all the Hostel films, are also EPs, or executive producers. Fifth season is a studio. Exact plot details are being kept under wraps. Well, since they're not sitting there telling us what it is, I'm having a feeling that Paul Giamatti might be the head of like the company in which like the people, the rich folks go through him to live out their most sadistic fantasies, meaning that y'all kidnapping. And you want to know something? If now that this is why I stumped myself. This is actually very timely for this to happen because you could play into the whole government situation, especially with our country of the rich getting richer and how the rich people do crazy stuff to, especially with immigration and tourism. They added tourism and stuff in the last ones, but you could throw immigrants, you could throw all that stuff in there that they out here killing people for sport and all that other stuff. And then this is what the wealthy's doing. So this would definitely be very timely and work in this environment in which we're currently in. So I'm here for it. So they said in the Hostel franchise, innocent tourists are kidnapped by a mysterious group known as the Elite Hunting Club operating out of Eastern Europe, with the group's rich clientele playing to torture and unalive the tourists. The first film was released in theaters in 2006, and you want to say that movie freaked me out so much, like Final Destination, that I refuse to stay in a hostel, even though I know hostels ain't like that, but that has always freaked me out from staying in a hostel. So the first film came out in 2006. Jesus, that movie came out 20 years ago. I feel old. With Roth writing, directing, and producing. Roth also wrote, directed, and produced The Hostel Part 2 in 2007. A third film was released, directed video in 2011, though Roth was not involved in the production. Now, collectively, the first two films of the franchise grossed nearly 120 million globally, despite costing just 4.8 million and 10.2 million, respectively, to produce. And that's actually good. The fact that those films were very cheap to produce, it made a crap ton of money. So this is actually a good thing. But I do wonder what the budget for the series is going to be. Now, Giamatti is one of the finest actors, as we know, of his generation. He's a two-time Oscar nominee, first for Cinderella Man and then another for The Holdovers. He's also a six-time Golden Globe nominee, winning the award for his work on the HBO series John Adams, as well as for the films Barney's Vision and The Holdovers. Giamatti has previously told Variety's Mark Malkin that he was interested in pursuing more horror roles, naming the Texas Chainsaw Massacre as his favorite film in the genre. And I do like, funny enough, I was actually considering watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre the other day, but I ended up watching the first Friday the 13th. I don't know, I was just feeling nostalgic. But this is actually a good idea. And seeing Paul Giamatti take on more sinister roles, I definitely think this would be good. Look, Peacock is starting to try to figure out what they're going to do in regards of competing with the Hulus, the Disney Pluses, the Apple TVs, and all of those. They have to figure out where they fit in. And so far, what are the original projects that they have over there? Twisted Metal, which they just dropped season 2 today. They're working on a Crystal Lake series, which of course is based around Friday the 13th. They're currently filming that, and now we have Hostel. So it seemed like they're on the right track thus far. I mean, I'm like, are y'all trying to be Peacock or you trying to be Shudder? With all of these little horror projects and stuff y'all got going on over there. But nevertheless, I'll definitely be checking it out because as a Hostel fan, you know, Eli's Zionism aside, I am a fan of Hostel and that franchise, so I'm definitely curious to see where they're planning on taking this series. If y'all going to do this show, though, please do not try to PG-13 the kills and all the other stuff. Like, really go there in regards of like the subject matter. And I think because it's a part of streaming services, or as, because it's a streaming service, you don't have to worry about trying to sugarcoat some of the subject matter that you would on there versus like a Chucky that was on Sci-Fi and on other channels before y'all put it on Peacock. But by that time, it was too little too late. People kind of like turned on it, and then the show ended up getting canceled after 3 damn seasons. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards of Hostel now being adapted for the small screen? I mean, I would like to have seen it come out as a movie, but if they have more to explore in regards to like a series, probably like an 8 to 10 episode series, I'm guessing, then I'm willing to see what they're planning on doing with this IP for the small screen. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, so let me close that window. Let's run over and see what the people are saying. Oh, you said Saw it. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because Saw came out first. I forgot. Jay Hernandez. Agreed. I was so mad when they killed him off in the second one. I love me some Jay Hernandez. What's he up to? The last thing I know he was in was Magnum PI. Then after that show got canceled. We haven't heard from him. Eli has to wait for Addison Rae. Thanksgiving 2 is delayed until she's done and ready to film. He low-key said, I should have offered her had I known she really wanted to make music. Well, look, my thing is, if you're contractually obligated to be in a movie, then you need to put all that other stuff to the side and fulfill your contractual obligations. They really effed up Fantasy Island. How dare don't remind me. I used to love that. I used to watch the original show, of course, in reruns when I was a kid. Would you rather? Yeah, because didn't they try to do Fantasy Island like it was a horror movie? I had such a crush on Jay Hernandez growing up. My dumb ass would have followed him across Europe. Well, he is fine though. Yeah, I agree. Escape Room has such a good concept, but they messed that up. And I was glad to see India Moore was in the sequel, but it was not good. Why aren't they catering to the gays? They're called. That's such a stupid name to Peacock. I want to see your Peacock. Ha, ha, your Peacock. All right, so let's get into our final horror movie topic. Let's talk about The Walking Dead. So we didn't even get season 3 yet. And already they talking about season 4. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, season 3 I think comes out in September, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have that on something. It probably says in the article when I get to it. But season 3, I believe they already show like there's like previews and stuff online, like a teaser or whatever the case is. Daryl and Carol are back at it. They've been shooting, I know, in Spain. And season 3 is supposed to come, I believe, in September. And now season 4, we're hearing, is coming about. And it will be where they wrap up the show. Now, AMC announced Friday at Comic-Con, even though I find it bizarre that we're getting this almost a week later, that it has renewed The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon for a 4th and final season. Production is slated to begin in the coming days in Madrid and other locations in Spain. Series leads Norman Reedus and Melissa McBride will continue their roles in the 8-episode final run, saying, quote, across 2 extraordinary series spanning almost 2 decades, Norman and Melissa have given life to 2 of the most iconic characters in the history of TV. Daryl and Carol have taken fans on an unforgettable and intensely human journey of challenge, survival, hope, and friendship, and the response from fans in the very first moments of The Walking Dead has been remarkable. This is what Dan McDermott, president in entertainment and AMC Studios for AMC Networks, saying, quote, we can't wait to share the upcoming 3rd season of Daryl this fall and to begin production on this 4th and final season in España. Well, he said Spain, but I said España. Now, Reeves and McBride were at San Diego for the Comic-Con session alongside showrunner David Zabel and executive producer Scott M. Gimple and Greg Nicotero, which I just heard Greg Nicotero is working on a reality competition series for Shudder. I wonder if it's going to be like Face Off, one of them type of situations. Now, season 3 of Daryl Dixon, meanwhile, is set to premiere. Okay, now that's, I knew they was going to say it in here, September 7th, and we'll follow Reedus's title character and McBride's Carol to Spain, Eduardo Noriega, Oscar Hainada, and Alexandra Massenke, I think that's how you're saying it, whatever, co-star. If I said your name wrong, I apologize. I shouldn't say whatever. That's just rude. They said Daryl Dixon has been an incredible journey. I think each and every fan who has joined us on this ride, this is what he said in the statement. It's been a privilege to build this story for these characters, and we have so much gratitude for how it's been embraced. The love and support have made every moment worth it. The finale isn't just the ending, it's a celebration of what we've all shared together. Keep carrying that love forward. Daryl's journey is far from over. So does that mean we still gonna have more from y'all? Because at this point, y'all need to just wrap up not only the Walking Dead franchise, but y'all need to wrap up Daryl Dixon's story too. Like, how much more story y'all got to give with him? Although, look, I love me some Norman Reedus. I've been following his career since Boondock Saints. But at some point, we got to wrap up Daryl and Carol's story. But now, speaking of Carol, here's what Melissa McBride had to say. She said, "It's been a thrill of a lifetime to shoot this part of Daryl and Carol's adventure together in Europe, and I keep coming back for more of these two characters. There's still so much story left to tell and so much for the fans to look forward to. I'm going to revel in the moments as they come, and I'm excited for the fans to see what we have been working on in these incredible locations, on and on, so on and so forth." So I'm going to admit, I have not watched the second season of Daryl Dixon. I haven't gotten around to it because there's been other things that have been on my mind, priorities, doing this show. I've been so engulfed in a lot of YouTube stuff. So I haven't really had time to really sit and watch this show, but I'm going to go around and do a little binge before season 3, because I did see season 1. Season 2, I believe, is like, 6 episodes? So that's not hard for me to get through. So I'm going to sit and watch those. And then I'll get around to season 3 when they drop that in September and see how they wrap this up. But I think I've just basically been on the fence and skeptical with a lot of The Walking Dead, only because every time they've done a spinoff, I've been disappointed. Like, I didn't like The Ones Who Live. I felt like that finale was a cop out. The whole dynamic between Michonne and Rick was getting on my damn nerves with a lot of the decisions they were having him make and some of the dialogue. And it was like, okay, y'all doing too much. Then it was just Jadis. I liked her at one point, but then she was irritating me in this season. So it's always somebody that one of y'all writers always got to be a thorn in the fan's ass when it comes to the way y'all write stuff. So it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Couldn't get into the show with Negan and the other girl whose father, wait, no, he didn't kill her father. He killed her man, Glenn. So I just couldn't get into that show. I don't know. Is it good? Y'all can let me know in the comments. But I watched a couple episodes of season 1, then I just kind of like, okay, I'm bored. I'm moving on to something else that's way more exciting. And so every time they have come out with a spin-off show, I could never really you've never given me my life. The only show that really gave me what I needed was the first, maybe the first couple of seasons of The Walking Dead, until Negan did what he did to some of them characters. Once that came up at that point, I was like, okay, I'm out. Like, y'all just pretty much, even though I know some of the stuff is in the comics, but the way y'all were just trying to be a little too accurate and a little too extra, it came across a bit like we were just talking about with Hostel, a little too torture cornish. That's the way it came across with a lot of the stuff. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm done. I don't care. Y'all can have the show. I'm bailing. Like, that's what it was giving me. But so out of respect for Daryl and this whole situation, I'll finish out the season, but I'm at this point, I'm done with The Walking Dead. And until y'all can come up with like something remotely interesting to talk about when it comes to zombies, because I feel like this whole franchise, quiet as it's kept, has overstayed its welcome. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding the Daryl Dixon's got just renewed for a 4th and final season? They're going to start filming it soon. Season 3 is coming out in a little bit over a month. So we'll see how it is. I mean, are you liking the show? Is it good? Is it not good? I've already said in this thing that I've only watched the first season. I haven't gotten around to watching the second season, and it's okay. It's not like it's must see. Like, oh my god, this show is out. I have to see it like right away. So it's just that it's just there. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay. Excuse me. He said, "Remember the Cube movies?" Yeah, I do remember those. Excuse me. I honestly didn't know this show was still around. The franchise was deader than the. Okay. Yeah, it's still on. They keep finding ways of expanding that damn franchise. They should have led the franchise with leaving main characters. Well, don't they be killing off a lot of the characters? That's what people was liking about it. But I just felt like a lot of times the writers and Scott Gimple really thought, like, oh yeah, we doing something cool and revolutionary. And it just kept going on to see how far they could push it with the audience. And then it just came to a point where the audience was like, okay, you like I felt like they hit that limit, they went past the ceiling, and people were just like, you know what? No, y'all can have it. We done. Y'all went a little too far. Are you talking about traveling to new locations? Yeah, I feel like that should have been a common goal. Like it's about getting from point A to point B. But I do feel like at some points, what hurt The Walking Dead was the fact that they were trying to build a home in these certain spots, and they just stayed there for like Alexandria. Like we got to stay here for like 5. I'm like, no, this is boring. We don't want to sit people watching people trying to start a whole farm life or whatever the case is. Like we don't care about all that. Like it should be like you're traveling to new locations every season. That makes it interesting instead of having to plant roots in one spot for multiple seasons. Move around. Them zombies ain't just staying in one spot. So why the people doing it? But anyway, let's move on from zombies and let's talk about South Park. So South Park aired its premiere, season 27 premiere to be exact, last week, and pissed off Donald Trump to the point that he decided to call him irrelevant and all this other stuff. Well, I don't know how relevant they are because apparently, as you can see in the lower third, they up in here telling y'all how much South Park made. Well, not made, but like how the ratings and stuff was in regards to how many people watched that premiere. They were supposed to come out with season 2, but I just see they moved it to next week. Like, Trump, oh yeah, humping on the devil and all this other stuff. I was like, I mean, you had to make a deal with the devil to be in a position you in now. But these other nuts being in the White House about God. I saw y'all doing everything. Y'all doing more ungodly things than godly things. So, but they like to hide behind and use God and stuff as a shield to justify the criminalities and the crazy shit that they do. It's that cultish behavior. But anyway, so according to Paramount, the new episode has brought in 5.9 million viewers across Paramount Plus and Comedy Central in its first 3 days of availability. Total viewers in this case is defined as total global watch time divided by runtime from July 24th to the 26th. The episode also marked the biggest linear premiere for South Park since 1999 and made it the top telecast in all of cable the Wednesday it premiered. The episode also marked the show's biggest rating in the adults 18 to 49 demo since 2022. With a 0.996 rating, it was up 15% compared to the season 26 premiere, which drew a 0.886% or 0.886 rating. An encore airing of the episode Sermon on the Mount will air tonight on Comedy Central with a new episode set for August 6th. So that was yesterday, where they showed a repeat. So you got to wait till next week to see the new episode. Now, in the season premiere, series creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone took direct aim at President Donald Trump and his attacks on Comedy Central parent company Paramount Global. Trump is portrayed in the episode in the same way the show used to portray Saddam Hussein, including putting him in a sexual relationship with Satan. It then concludes with a parody PSA featuring a naked Trump stumbling through the desert. Parker and Stone recently extended their deal with Paramount Global for an additional 50 episodes of South Park. The extension is reportedly valued at $300 million a year for the next 5 years. So isn't that 1.5 billion? Jesus, I need that money. The extension, and then it says the deal also saw the entire South Park library move to Paramount Plus for the first time, with new episodes to stream on the service after the linear debut on Comedy Central. So you can watch old episodes of South Park. You can rewatch this recent episode, which yes, it was hilarious. And I have to admit, it's been a minute, years, I should say, since I was interested in South Park, but because of all this stuff that was coming out, I'm like, you know what? And some of the clips that I saw online and me laugh, I was like, okay, now it seems like they got their mojo back. You know, every now and again, Trey and Matt have their little rocky moments, but it seems like that, you know what, with all the craziness going on with this administration, the jokes write themselves. So they just have to just take what's already there and just expand on it, exaggerate it to make it like so crazy. It's not pop. Like they couldn't do something. There's no bottom. This man and his administration won't stoop for attention to distract y'all, especially from the Epstein files and all that other stuff, which I'm hoping that they can bring up in the future and all this other stuff. But yeah, it's like the whole devil Saddam Hussein situation. I'm glad they're kind of playing that up. Wasn't that a part of the movie Big Long and Uncut? If I'm not mistaken, because it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. But yeah, so congratulations, South Park. You know, I'll continue to keep watching the season to see if that 300 million a year is money well spent. Because you know, with all that money that you're just being given from the next 5 years of content that you have to create and making your 300 million, y'all really got to step it up with the comedy. And with 4 years of this man and his administration, you'll definitely have a lot to give. Now, that final year it might be a little hard, or maybe not. But the first 4, I mean, we almost halfway through this one of the years. But the next couple of years, we'll just see like if y'all can keep the momentum and stuff going. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding South Park killing it in the ratings the first week? You know, it's a great thing to be celebrating. We'll see if they can keep that momentum up and continue to have people interested in checking out South Park and the rest of the episodes to see if the episodes are just as funny, and if not funnier, and just as strong as the season premiere of season 27. So let me know what you guys think of and also if you saw South Park, what did you think of the episode and all that good stuff? So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Anna says, can't wait to see them obliterate Charlie Kirk. Oh, you mean where he's all gums and no teeth like Tim Scott? Yeah, they were showing Trump rubbing Satan's leg. Like damn near dry humping. The last few seasons have been really short. Like last season was only 6 episodes. Well, I guess maybe that's the way they're doing is they're gonna do like shorter seasons. And it's like I guess with some of them, you only have but so much you can give in regards of content. So it's like, okay, we're just gonna do 6 episodes, 7 episodes, 8 episodes a year. That's enough. Especially because it's a lot of work doing animation. Uh-huh. Oh, and look, they earned it from hard work. They didn't have to do Ponzi schemes. They didn't have to go and try to open up golf courses in Scotland on our dime because we're paying for that. Like they didn't have to pull a bunch of scams and things in order to get any kind of businesses and stuff going. This is them actually getting this payout because they're creating work and getting paid for it. Their pandemic episode. It's funny though the way they call it the pandemic. And it's that Cartman voice too that I got in my head. Okay, so now let's get to our next topic and let's talk about Trump's bestie Hulk Hogan, because the tea has been spilled in regards of Hulk Hogan or Terry Bollea. The Pinellas County Medical Center has pretty much determined the official cause of death for the iconic wrestler, which I find relatively interesting. I'm like, damn, that was quick that y'all got the report and everything out already. He just died less than 72 hours ago. Now, according to a cremation approval summary report from the Pinellas County Forensic Science Center obtained by the Hollywood Reporter, Hogan died from acute myocardial infarction, which basically means heart attack. His death was ruled the result of natural causes and was certified by his personal physician. Here's another thing that we didn't know about either. Now, he also had a history of atrial fibrillation, a heart condition, and leukemia, CLL, or cancer that affects the blood and bone marrow. So this man was privately battling leukemia and didn't tell nobody. Now, he leaves behind a legacy as a popular TV wrestler and major Hollywood celebrity beginning in the 1980s. Hogan won the World Wrestling Entertainment champion 6 times during his career. Well, it was a WWF. I don't know why y'all sitting here calling it WWE, because that's not what it was when he was in there. So they said a giant, I didn't know he was 6'7", and 320 pounds in his prime. Hogan would enter the ring in yellow trunks, boots, and a bandana, his muscles bulging, his body glistening. What is this? Did a homosexual write this? Accompanied by his Real American theme music. I want to be a real American. That stupid song. He did come out of that at the Trump rally when I ended up working that against my will. So he said he will rip apart his singlet and cup his ear to the roaring crowd. Now, and funny enough, he tried to do it at that Trump rally, but that shirt wasn't ripping. Post-match, the crowd got their money's worth. Hogan would cup his ear once more and pose, flexing his 24-inch python arms and often waving a large American flag. It was all a part of Hulkamania. In Hollywood, Hogan also starred in Rocky III, which came out in 1982, No Holds Barred, which came out in 1989, Suburban Commando, which came out in 1991, Mr. Nanny, which came out in 1993, and Santa with Muscles. And then, of course, he also appeared in the 1994 syndicated series Thunder in Paradise. I remember that. He also appeared as himself in everything from the A-Team and Baywatch to Gremlins 2, The New Batch. Speaking of which, sidebar, I did hear there's rumblings of they're trying to make a Gremlins 3. Zach Galligan, I believe, was at Comic-Con and was talking about it or something or another, and said that they're working on the script and there might be some interest. We'll see how that all works out, but I like Gremlins back in 80. Well, I was a mere child in 84, a little infant. So I don't remember it then, but I do remember going to a drive-in years later when I was in camp. Me and my sister wound up going to and seeing that movie, and we saw something else. I don't remember what it was, but I do remember Gremlins, seeing that at a drive-in theater, and I had a good time with it. And Gremlins to the New Batch was all right, but I don't know if in this time frame we need a new Gremlins movie. They they also said he appeared on Robot Chicken and American Dad. So hearing about all this, that was crazy. Like, who knew that he was battling cancer, that he was dealing with all these things that was going on with him in life? I wonder where all that came from. Like, was it being out in the sun? Was it smoking? Was he doing steroids? Because we all know, because a lot of time when these people get these body parts, it ain't from just lifting weights and diet and exercise. Sometimes they get help too. And didn't he come under fire for using steroids back in the day? So yeah, that's the latest. Also heard that Brooke wanted to be taken out of the will. I did hear that story because it's like she got her own money, she got her own thing going on. I do feel like she is relatively estranged from her parents, her father and her mother, because her mother was wilding out on social media at one point. To which I think Brooke was like, "Okay, I had to disown her. You doing too much." So family dynamics, I guess. So yeah, that's the latest on the Hulkster. And I ask all of you, what did you guys think of this story when you first heard, or maybe this may be your first time hearing about it, that Hulk Hogan, basically his cause of death was a heart attack. Also, there was some blood issues and cancer, leukemia being one of them, and all that other stuff. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I'm also loving how his death exposed and took. Yeah, I did see that story. And I'm like, who the hell is Joey Swole? Then I saw people talking about it, which made me go down this little rabbit hole about him. Yeah. With the whole Joey Swole thing. And people said maybe he genuinely doesn't know the history of like Hulk Hogan and a lot of things he did. Maybe he doesn't. Or maybe it's just the fact that when it doesn't affect you, people don't really think about it or give a damn. That could be that too. Because, I mean, if white people, we all know, aren't affected by someone using the N word and saying a lot of crazy, disrespectful things, and then you got his ex-wife side here pining and being all sad and being distraught. I'm like, girl, he made fun of your ass on social media with his current wife. And you sitting there pining for that. Oh, I always love him. He loved me. I love him more than he loved me. I was like, clearly, we could definitely tell he did, or you did, because of the way he was talking about you and disrespecting you. And it's like, I don't care where I'm at when it comes to my past relationship. You don't disrespect the mother of your children. That's why I said his body glistening. I'm like, who wrote that? A homosexual? Snap it to a Slim Jim. Yeah, I do remember that. I'm definitely hopping on TRT when I get older. Not gonna lie, it makes me wonder if I should hop on. Like, child, how old are you? You said they're talking about hopping on it. Or is that the same thing as human growth hormones? Well, if it's prescribed by a doctor and they have you use it in a way that you don't end up with like baldness and screwed up testicles, whatever the case is. If it's like prescribed correctly, I wouldn't mind using it. But then again, you got to watch it with some of these doctors because some of them are just like bone certified drug dealers at this point. Too many celebrities end up dead because they take prescriptions and things from doctors who be prescribing them things, and they just be taking money. You've heard enough of the stories. Oh, okay. Well, shoot, who knows? I might actually have to join you on that. But anyway, here's somebody who could use some TRT. Let's talk about the Diddy, Diddy, who is basically still trying to slither his way out of prison. And I'm like, boy, if you don't just give it up, like, stop trying to make fetch happen. You're going to do your crime, you're going to do the time, and you're going to stay your ass in the jail. So his team, they said he did, but his team filed a motion to overturn his prostitution convictions, saying the government painted him as a monster, which you kind of are, and that the jury rejected the case, and that the free calls were just pornographic movie shoots protected by free speech. Now, I don't know who has a bigger reach, him or Reed Richards, because this is the reach of all reaches. Now, Combs' legal team filed the motion late Wednesday, July 30th, asking the court to either overturn his conviction on 2 counts of transportation to engage in the prostitution or grant him a new trial, according to legal documents obtained by USA Today. The request comes days after the embroiled music mogul's team asked Judge Aaron Subramanian to release Combs on a $50 million bond and allow him to live in his Miami mansion instead of the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn as he awaits sentencing in October. Combs' legal team once again argues that use of the Mann Act, officially known as the White Slave Traffic Act, which makes it illegal to transport people across state or international lines for the purpose of prostitution, in these circumstances is unprecedented and raises concerns about discriminatory enforcement. Saying, quote, Mr. Combs at most paid to engage in voyeurism as part of a swinger's lifestyle. That does not constitute prostitution under a properly limited definition of the statutory term. But that's not all he was doing, right? Like, y'all keep saying that he paid to engage in voyeurism. Yeah, he was sitting there in the background with that baby oil, using that as like albaline on his dick, while you had basically your girl being your Heather Hunter and your Jenna Jameson. So you was using her as your live edition porn shoot while you off in the background with your face wrapped, greasing up your little Diddy with some baby oil. And now you're trying to sit and use that as a thing of like, oh, I wasn't engaging in this, that, and the other. But when you've had somebody so damn brainwashed thinking that is love, that what you're doing because you had her all drugged up and all this other stuff, and Cassie all, worried about all this stuff getting out, and rightfully so, because when you have somebody who is in a position of dangling your career in his hands, signing you to a 10-album deal, which we all know nobody is going to come out and make 10 damn albums. So you got her tied up in a 10-album deal having her in the studio making music under the guise that if she does all these other things for you, that her music will come out. Never came out because they had no intention of putting the music out. But you got her in the studio, and every time she would try to talk to you about releasing the music, you, according to her and others, you use the freak off thing as a way, oh, if you do this thing for me, then we'll talk the music. But by that time, when you got her all drugged up and UTI here and a STI there, then it's like, oh, all that's out the window. Because she hiding Cooter Brown to get through this session that you got her being up in, because so you can get your little nasty rocks off. And now you trying to find little loopholes and pulling stunts and shows so that way you can get yourself out of prison. No, stay your ass where you are. So they said the defense team claims that Combs 55 is the only person ever convicted under the Mann Act, which they said has been historically abused by law enforcement under similar circumstances because he wasn't selling sex, having sex with the prostitutes himself, or arranging travel to commit sexual assault, sex trafficking, and crimes against minors. Yeah, you was having other people do it. Because when you have the power, you have your assistant, you have Cassie, you have other people who arrange everything. I guess that's a way of you keeping your hands clean or you just being a mogul, which is you put people in a position to do the things you need for them to do. But my thing is, too many people know my dirt. Too many people know my secrets. I can't have all of y'all up in here knowing my little nasty fetishes and fantasies. And I guess that's where the NDAs come in. But it's like, it's too many of y'all involved in my stuff. I'd rather just get on the phone and do everything myself. But then again, if you end up doing everything yourself, then they can go off and say that he was selling sex, having sex with the prostitutes, or arranging the travel. So if you did all of that, then they would get you on that. So I guess he was smart to have other people do it. So now Combs' defense further says that Revolt TV found his actions were not prostitution and that his behavior, filming and directing FO performances, is protected First Amendment conduct. Now, on July 2nd, jurors found Combs not guilty, as y'all know, of racketeering and trafficking ex-girlfriend Cassie and a woman known as Jane in his sweeping nearly 2-month trial. The jury convicted the Bad Boy Records founder on charges of transportation to engage in, as y'all know, the P word, which carries a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison or 10 years on each count. Prosecutors, though, have signaled that Combs himself may face a lesser time due to federal sentencing schedules. Yeah, that's why I feel like I don't think he'll do 20 years. I think he'll probably do 5 to 7, 2 to 5, or at least almost a decade, but he'll probably get out less for good behavior or out early for good behavior. But if you keep this foolishness up, they're going to throw the book at you. Like, stop poking, stop irritating these people over there. Sit your ass in the jail. You already got almost a year in. Sit your behind in the prison until October 3rd. And after that, they'll figure out what they want to do. Like, okay, you get your sentence, you do your time, and then you keep it moving. Because it's like, no, you trying to be on house arrest. How we know you're going to actually comply and take it behind down to the courthouse to get your fate told to you? So the motion basically went on to say the proof at trial showed that he typically hired the services of male escorts and dancers advertised openly through lawful businesses, that the men were paid for their time and that they enjoyed the activities that they and had friendships with Miss Ventura and Jane and were not merely traveling to have sex for money. Well, yeah, that's what they get paid for. If you're an escort or whatever the case is, you get paid for your time. And when that check clear and you getting all that money and you know they paying well over there, you be happy too. Now, in arguing with the new trial, the defense claims that Combs' conviction was affected by inflammatory evidence stemming from the dismissed RICO charge, particularly the 2016 surveillance video of the producer putting pause on Cassie, which caused severe spillover prejudice. They also said the video would have been inadmissible otherwise, and evidence for the Mann Act convictions themselves was weak. Now, they said if his motion is denied, his legal team is now about to really get desperate. And now they're going to wait a decision from Donald Trump, who weighed in on possibly pardoning Combs pre-verdict on May 30th. He said nobody asked about a pardon, the president said at the time, but I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about, okay, I don't want to go into whole rambling on with him because he likes to say the same thing 50 million times. He always wants to take credit for things. But there was a recent story that came out that basically said that he is really considering pardoning him. And it's like, okay, so now all of you abusers, rapists, all you other stuff, y'all can all just go play in a bed of glass together. That's what y'all could pretty much do. So I'll definitely keep you guys abreast of this story as it develops, but it's just new stuff that keeps coming out. We'll see if he'll get off. He probably will. I wouldn't be surprised in today's climate, the way things are going. It's like regular people come out and talk about they've been abused or whatever. Y'all don't care about them. All y'all care about is these rich folks, these oligarchs, these powerful people in powerful positions doing crazy stuff to people and getting away with it because your money allows you to just treat people the way that you feel like you could treat them. So I'll definitely keep you guys abreast of the story as it develops. But in the meantime, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Ashwagandha? What is that what it's called? He said, I think they must be drugging his probably all topic, but thoughts of Kamala's book. And oh yeah, I did write that article earlier. Look, I'll say this about Mama Love. My name is Kamala. I will say this about her in this book. Now, if you're going to sit up here and talk about this book and these days that you was running for president, you better tell everything. Don't be out leaving things out. And when you were going to be president, what were the things were you really going to take on APAC and not take, and really go in and let have on these companies, these people that are out here committing a genocide in Gaza? Like what? Because I already know. Like to me, I honestly feel like we would the things that Trump and his administration is doing right now. We would not be getting that from Kamala. However, I think the thing that she probably would have been weak on, like Biden, was foreign policy. And if you're going to be weak on the foreign policy, that could have been something we could have taken her to task for, and she'll be willing to listen. And all of something she don't, we could really push back. But they understand the rule of law, freedom of speech, all that other stuff. This other administration with Stephen Miller ugly ass and the rest of them, and JD Vance Cabbage Patch looking ass and all of them with the stunts and stuff they pulling, they really trying to roll back a lot of things. We're trying to take away things from us as human beings and our right to even have freedom of speech and things of that nature. So y'all thought that Kamala Harris was going to be worse, but and it's funny because none of the Democrats are fighting back. I did hear a recent poll that they're saying that people still think that the Democrats are worse than Republicans in regards of what's happening in this country. And I'm like, y'all not even fighting this. And then you got Cory Booker, fat ass, out here pulling stunts and shows and trying to perform, and even his own people, Amy Klobuchar, aka Snow Woman, was calling him out and stuff. And I'm like, wasn't y'all all just taking pictures with Netanyahu the other day? And now all of a sudden you want to come up in here trying to talk about you need money for this and you need money for that and all this other mess. And it's like, okay, it was cute or whatever when you did the filibuster and you were sitting there putting on a performance for the lifetime. Now you're trying to do more. I'm like, sir, you cannot outact your ex, Ahsoka. So stop trying to do it, aka Rosario Dawson. You can't outact her. Stop trying to act like you trying to get that Oscar. Because what I'm gonna give your ass is a Razzie. Because that's what you're giving right now. You're giving Razzie award winning performance. So all the little stunts trying to talk about, yelling and all that. It's like, okay, stop, stunt queen, stop. But I don't even know if I answered your question. But it was like, but Kamala's book, if she's gonna do the book, if you're gonna really go in, like we want to know everything, I need you to go in and tell us the tape. Her not running for governor of California, I think that's a good idea because I don't think she would have won. But don't run for governor of California. I think like you need to get politics a rest. You need to go in and do other things, kind of like the Obamas. They left politics and now they in TV producing and all this other stuff. I think they produce stuff for Netflix, but it's like go and find something else to do. I don't think she would have won as governor of California. I mean, Gavin Newsom, word on the curb is he trying to run for president. I don't know if he'll win though, but we'll see. And then I saw that black people are not particularly feeling because they keep talking about Pete Booty Plug is up for trying to run for office or as the people that they bringing up like to be president, whatever case is. Black people is not voting for him. And I don't even think it got to do with him being a homosexual. I think it might be his policies. Being a trafficker, I mean, that could be a part of it too, because we already know black folks don't like gays, even though quiet as kept. There's a lot of y'all running around that light getting y'all butts played with. And I'm not talking about by your girlfriends. I'm not talking about by being pegged. Being a trafficker sounds like a lot of work. Like all that point, I just I just make music. Okay. Cause I'm like, all that extra stuff, you just being a freak. Like there's ways you could be a freak in your own house, but I guess it's not enough. She was Israel, and so is the okay. Biden and the Dems must own a piece. I doubt Kamala will ever tell the actual truth about them bodies. No, she won't, because she feels like because he gave her the opportunity to be VP, she's got some loyalty to him. And I'm like, look, I'm glad you put me in the position you put me in, and that was great. However, the truth got to be the truth. But you know, these politicians, they're going to always politic. One person I must say that really gave it in his recent interview, and I think that interview was almost 3 hours, if not over. Hunter Biden, that recent interview he did, I saw some of the clips and stuff online. I didn't really get to watch it, although I do have it saved in my YouTube situation. So I might, one of these days when I have time, I'm going to sit and watch it. But I did watch a little bit. I saw when Colin Crystal interviewed the guy that interviewed Hunter, and me hearing what they were talking about in the situation was relatively interesting, because he was someone that has he jumped on any different and has he jumped on any other vices, you know, because once you do crack, because he was a crackhead, there was somebody like what got him at the point of like him getting himself clean and having that rock bottom, because you know the only way you get off them drugs, you gotta hit your rock bottom. And they talked about that, but it was like, what did he get into? Like what? Because you know, once you get off like the hard drugs, you do find your other vices. Some people vape, some people do all this other, you know, some people drink coffee or they're into the caffeine. But they said that yeah, he vapes, which I come to find out today. Well, from watching the interview, Kyle Kalinske said that he gave up vaping. I was like, thank God, because I got tired of seeing you vape. That's why I was like, okay, now it makes sense. Well, when I watch his show, he be chewing gum now, because I think that's the new vice to keep you from smoking. Because yeah, them vapes is worse than cigarettes. I thank God I don't vape anymore. I used to vape. If Newsom runs in 2028, he has a lot to okay. Especially like remember around the beginning once Trump became president, he was running around trying to, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and break bread with like racists and things. I'm gonna interview Charlie Kirk and I'm gonna interview. I was like, no, what are you doing? Now all of a sudden you thinking that's gonna make you relatable to these young people is by talking to a lot of these Republican incels or these QAnons and these maggots and all these other people. And you know what? There was something I had said earlier that rubbed me the wrong way. There's a word that, because you know, we like coining things. We like taking the F word back. We took the N word back. We took bitch back. You know what we need to take back too? Red pill. Because one of the things I don't like is that a lot of these nutbags, these Trumpers and things, or these misogynistic a-holes, what they've done is they have hijacked red pill when Neo took the red pill. If anything, y'all a bunch of damn ciphers running around. Y'all are not Neo. And if you've seen The Matrix, you know exactly what I mean about that. So I had to say something because I was watching something about The Matrix and it just clicked in my brain. So as someone who's watched The Matrix about 1,000,000 times, I never understood how the term red pill was hijacked by misogynistic propaganda extremists. Now, if people actually paid attention to the film, and I told you I've seen it so many damn times, so you know I did. The red pill represented liberation and breaking from societal norms, which is why Neo took it. He was willing to go down that rabbit hole and free his mind from being enslaved by what he was propagandized to believe. Now, those who chose to stay in the matrix and continue to be blinded by the truth, the term you should be using is blue pill. But I think the reason, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I just feel like maybe the reason why red pill was hijacked is because red represents Republican, blue represents Democrat. So I'm wondering if that's why they took that. But I'm like, if you're going to take a phrase, red pill, you don't know. You have to know what the red pill stands for. So anybody that comes around to about red pill, so I'm gonna start correcting y'all in the comments or whatever the case is, because I'm like, tell me you never seen The Matrix by telling me you ain't seen The Matrix by saying something about red pill, then red pill is being seen as a negative. It's like no. When Neo took the pill, he freed his mind. He became his true, authentic self. He embraced all the things about who he was. That's what that means. Not you spewing hatred and all kinds of crazy talking points because you hate women or whatever the case is. That's not what that was about. Especially when the script was written by two trans women before they was trans. When I hit rock bottom about what was you doing? Oh, you said when I hit rock bottom about 2 years ago, I stopped drinking, vaping, hitting cartridges. Mostly did it because of a DL guy I was with and the heartbreak destroyed. Oh, I'm glad you've been, releasing all that stuff. He said the hijacking of red pill is one of the greatest crimes against heartbreak is no yeah, because it's like don't stop we all have to go through that mess, but it's like, yeah, don't destroy who you are for some man or being in a relationship. That's why I said they both trans, but they wasn't when they made that movie. Or maybe they was. Well, they probably were, because you're trans here before you are here. So a lot of people don't realize that's like, yeah, you on your mind before the outside matches the inside. So, but The Matrix is one of the greatest films ever made. One of the. I ain't gonna say the greatest, because I be hating when people say the best thing of all time. I'm like, that's a tall order. There's so many other good movies out there. Music too. All right, y'all. So now let's get back into the show. Let's talk about Justin Timberlake. So I kind of feel bad. I said kinda, because I'm still in the back of my mind with all that foolishness of Justin and the way he treated on the strength of Brittany and Janet and so many others, and the smugness of how he could be over the years. But look, the man's sick, so I'm gonna show him a little compassion here. So I kind of have been not kind of I have been clowning him as of late over the fact that he been giving half-ass performances while he's been on tour. So I would have said this is gonna kill the tour. However, the tour is over. So the tour has officially been killed. But he's been going through it. He's been dealing with the alcohol and something. Now, it kind of made me wonder, now you drinking all that alcohol and you getting drunk and stuff, that might have, I wonder if that really affects your Lyme disease. But he wound up saying, because, a lot of people was getting on him on social media, that he's been phoning it in with the performances, putting the microphone out to the crowd, having them sing back a lot of the songs. He's been kind of giving like these little weird, he's like dancing like, you know, a dad embarrassing his kids or whatever the case. Like, it was very much giving embarrassing dad in his mid 40s trying to going through his midlife crisis. That's what it was giving. Unfortunately, now, he took to social media and revealed what has been going on in regards to why he's been a little under the weather as of late. So yeah, he took to his Instagram and said the following. He said, well, as these 2 incredible years come to an end and I look forward to the future, I want to write something from the heart. It's not an easy task to try to contextualize the whirlwind of touring, but I will try. This has been the most fun, emotional, gratifying, physically demanding, and at times grueling experience. I have been doing this for over 30 plus years, which feels crazy to say, and I've given all that I have to this. I could not have done it without my family, friends, the Tennessee kids, because he said TN kids, but that's Tennessee kids, and all your support. As many of you know, I'm a pretty private person, but as I'm reflecting on the tour and the festival tour, I want to tell you a little bit about what's going on with me. Among other things, I've been battling some health issues and was diagnosed with Lyme disease, which I don't say so you feel bad for me, but to shed some light. Okay, so now I don't feel bad for you because you said don't feel bad for you. Don't cry for him, Argentina. So I'll take it. But you know what? Maybe I'll take a little bit of that because I did kind of go a little hard on the lacklustiness. But nevertheless, let's get back into it. So he says, but to shed some light on what I've been up against behind the scenes. If you've experienced this disease or know anyone who has, then you're aware. Living with this can be relentlessly debilitating, both mentally and physically. When I first got the diagnosis, I was shocked for sure, but at least I could understand why I would be on stage and in a massive amount of nerve, pain, or just feeling crazy fatigue or sickness. I was faced with a personal decision: stop touring or keep going and figuring it out. I decided the joy of that performing brings me far outweighs the fleeting stress my body was feeling. I'm so glad I kept going. Not only did I prove my mental tenacity to myself, but I now have so many special moments with all of you that I will never forget. I was reluctant to talk about this because I was always raised to keep something like this to yourself. Well, yeah, because, he is a man of a certain age. When you grow up in a generation like me and Justin is of the same age range, same generation. So yeah, we were pre-internet. So we all about keeping it private. Don't put your stuff out there. You don't want people to feel bad for you. The whole thing is we don't quit. We keep going. These are the things that we deal with. We don't sit up in here and be like, well, y'all need to sit up in here and feel bad for us. And we got to let you know every aspect of our lives and post it on social media. A lot of people, that's the way we were raised. And that's what he's bringing up. Now, sharing all of this with the hope that we can all find a way to be more connected. I like to do my part to help others experiencing this disease too. And they said, continue in comments. So he was getting a lot of comments from people saying how they I love you. I think this is him with his kids. There was one picture I saw on the side of the stage with one of his sons and Jessica Biel. Another person said, I was blessed to see you twice this tour and both times were incredible. I'm sorry to hear about your diagnosis and I hope you and the TN kids get so much rest and relaxation. You are so loved and blah, 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 so on and so forth. So he's got a lot of people in the comments that are showing him love and all this other good stuff. And I feel like, you know what, at this point, maybe what Justin needs to do is like, if you plan on touring in the future, because I remember I was having this conversation earlier and it was brought up that apparently there have been other celebrities that had this. Avril Lavigne was another one. She just went on tour this past summer. Unfortunately, I didn't get to work her show that she did. Some of my coworkers did, said it was a good show, but I think she took a lot of time off, got herself together, and when she was able to figure out a way to manage her Lyme disease, she was able to figure out how she could, have it work, have a good enough schedule that she could work around it. So I think that's what Justin needs to do. I think what Justin needs to do is just, take some time off, and if he's ready to come back and make music, or not even make music, because quiet as it's kept, ain't nobody buying that music. And that's no shade. I'm just saying, because that last album didn't do, what it was and what you needed to do and all the other stuff. So don't make music. Just if you want to go out and just tour this music for the rest of your life, then go ahead, get going with it, or whatever, however that lyric is for sexy back. But so for those who are not familiar with Lyme disease they said it's caused by Borrelia bacteria, which is carried by some ticks. Now, humans who contract the illness usually do so after being bitten by one of these ticks or if they're in a wooded area. Well, look, he did say he's a man of the woods, so that's probably how you got it. Now, symptoms of the disease include rashes, body pain, and stiffness, muscle weakness, and immune system issues. So they said like he isn't the first musician that came out with this. We had Shania Twain, as I mentioned, Avril Lavigne, Justin Bieber, and more stars also previously speaking about their struggles with the illness. Now, this marks the end of more than a year of touring. They said that this trek made Timberlake the 10th top touring artist of Billboard's mid-year box score, grossing $73.2 million across 41 shows as of late May. Well, look, he ain't make more than Beyonce, and she did shorter dates. But look, if he does want to go down the road and tour some more, what he could do is take a page out of Taylor Swift's book, which is do a couple of weeks, take a month off, come back, do more dates, take a month off. Like, just break it up. You don't have to spend, like, the way that things used to be back in the day, you had to do a tour for 2 years straight. No, you don't have to do 2 years anymore. Like, you could do a couple of dates, break it up, come back, do more, take a vacation, come back. Like, you could break it up. And I feel like you have to make things work for you. So this kind of makes me wonder, because like, just like I've been pushing for a DC reunion tour, we've been pushing for an NSYNC promotional, tour. Does this mean we ain't never gonna see NSYNC back together on stage performing and not being trotted out whenever Justin got something to promote? So yeah, this is the latest news on Justin. Get better, I guess. We could put all the Janet, Britney stuff aside and just have a little empathy or whatever for somebody who's going through some things. Because it's like, yeah, I mean, look, you got enough money anyway, so you don't even need the tour anymore. If this Lyme disease is going to affect you as a performer, it's like your health is more important. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Justin Timberlake coming out and saying that he has Lyme disease? So, whatever your thoughts are on this matter, I definitely want to hear from you. So let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Lola says, "Why every time I think of Lyme disease, I think not you taking it all the way back to the rip. Remember when that Queen Stephen slapped the shit out of her? Oh, I remember that. He was like, why every time I think of Lyme disease, I think of Irene from Real World Seattle getting slapped by a closet casing. Yeah, because when she call him a homosexual? Oh, that tore him up because his soul was clocked and he wasn't ready to be outed on TV. He said, open the door when she was leaving the show because she said, you're homosexual. We can't be friends, Stephen, because you're homosexual. That's how she talked. And he came running around the block. He's spinning the block. They came, open the door. Whack. Didn't they chop his ass from the show shortly after? I don't remember, but Stephen was too much. But we all knew she was a woman. Lyme is draining. Many people get it from nature or even their. Oh, damn. That's what I got to worry about because I got 2 dogs and they do love being outside. So I don't want to get into a situation where I end up getting a tick on me and then I end up with, you know, I swore. Oh, you said I swore it was pot. Might have been. I know that Avril Lavigne has it. Also, Justin Bieber and Debbie Gibson. Okay. Well, it definitely affects you from touring because look, Justin Bieber ain't toured since he came out with the Lyme disease diagnosis. So maybe that'll happen with Justin as well, the other Justin. So now we got 2 Justins with it. Okay, y'all. So now we got an update on Blake Lively. So I don't need to go and do a whole recap because I have to tell you the last Blake Lively story I did on her with her going after the content creators. Thank you so much for those of y'all that responded to that video, was in the comments, especially on TikTok, because y'all were having me cackling with a lot of stuff. Like people was loving the fact that I was reading her down to the floor. So I don't know, who knows what's gonna come out of this mouth as I report this, but I just want to give y'all an update that since that whole thing, and I was like, damn, did she watch this video and all of a sudden have a change of heart and realize how just stank she was coming across, like how she's burned a lot of, like even the fandom is looking at her side-eyed. So yeah, so remember I told you about that she had some subpoenas from her legal team filed against 3 content creators who were covering her legal battle with Justin Baldoni. Because I don't know how she thought she was special that we weren't going to come out here and if you're in the news, if this is a story that's coming out, then we have every right to cover a story that's going on because you're in the news. You were not exempt. Like everybody gets talked about. You, Wendy Williams, Brittany, Adanta, millions of other celebrities. You were not exempt from being talked about. So for you to have your team go after content creators who are breaking down the story and you realizing like they're not going to sit up here and kiss your behind, and you think because people are looking at the story and breaking it down and saying like, you know what, maybe she using her husband's influence of money or whatever, bullying Justin Baldoni, and us looking at it that way, that she's looking at it like, oh, well, he must be paying him to have this decision. I mean, to be coming up with this stuff. And I was like, ma'am, we all got brains. We all have minds of our own. We don't need Justin Baldoni's influence or money or whatever the hell it is that he may have to come to the conclusion that you are giving see you next Tuesday behavior. And that's just what it is. So the Gossip Girl alum, according to Radar Online, withdrew 3 subpoenas her lawyers issued to content creators Cassidy O'Donnell, Mackenzie Folks, and Lauren Needy, I think this is how you say her name, days after they asked the court to help amid Lively's witch hunt for discovery. Now, court documents reportedly revealed the letter Lively's team sent to the court stating, based on the third party's representations made in meets and confers, public statements and / or information provided by or in their moving papers, there is no further information required from the subpoenas as to the specific third parties at this time. Ms. Lively has therefore withdrawn the subpoenas as to them. The letters come after O'Connell wrote to the judge overseeing the case, stating there is no evidence or sound legal basis whatsoever to have issued this subpoena in the first place. Exactly. It's people using their First Amendment right to talk about a story that has been circulating the news. And I don't know which one it was, but one of the girls, she was like going, I think she had like a legal background or something or another, and she was just breaking it down like a legal person would. I think it might have been Cassidy O'Donnell. I could be wrong, but I think it was her that was the one that had that, like the real breaking it down. They said, oh, okay. So this says the letter go back to it. The letter comes after O'Connell wrote to the judge overseeing the case, saying there is no evidence or sound legal basis whatsoever or to have issued this subpoena in the first place. Lively has been gratuitously allowed to extend her witch hunt for discovery in which she has no evidence to support. While the three YouTube creators are no longer under investigation, the Another Simple Favor Star's lawyers are still seeking information from other influencers and third-party content creators. So does that mean you still out here going after Perez Hilton? And then they add Candace Owens up in there too? No, and then they also went on to say, as Radar Online reported, Lively's legal team subpoenaed dozens of influencers and content creators whom she alleged were part of a smear campaign against her. Court documents obtained revealed at least 60 subpoenas were issued by the actress's lawyers as part of her response to a July 11th court under addressing discovery deadlines. Some creators who found themselves in the middle of Lively and Baldoni's legal drama branded the subpoena an attack on personal privacy and First Amendment rights. Yeah, because it's like she wanted to reveal some. I think at one point, didn't she even dox somebody? I think she even doxed them, putting their information and stuff out there. I think it might have been Perez Hilton. She might have doxed, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, there was something about like you trying to give people personal information and do what with it? Like you gonna post it out there so the 10 fans you have can try to go and show up at their place with a pitchfork or whatever? Like, is that what you plan? Or what that guy did to the person that that mass powering that happened in Midtown Manhattan the other day? So Kirsty Fla shared a copy of her subpoena from Lively's lawyer, Ezra Hudson, notifying her Google account received a subpoena for information related to her account in the federal case Blake Lively versus Wayfarer Studios. She wrote in the caption, as a journalist, this is a direct attack on my privacy, my sources, and my First Amendment rights. This kind of legal fishing expedition is not just invasive, it's dangerous. Now, Lively's deposition in her case against Baldoni was initially scheduled for July 17th, but has since been pushed back to July 31st. The delay comes, after her social media expert Jed Wallace, was unexpectedly dismissed from the case. Lively alleged Wallace's PR team worked with Baldoni to spread negative stories about her in retaliation for her harassment complaints. A spokesperson for Lively said that she respects the court's decision, which has nothing to do with the merits of her allegations about Mr. Wallace's role in the smear campaign and relates solely on to the procedural question. My thing is this: if you can sit up in court and prove that Justin Baldoni was harassing you, doing all this other stuff, then you deal with that when your date comes and you get to prove to that in front of a damn judge. That's what your attorney should be focusing on. But for you to come up in here and try to go after content creators who are sitting up there and just reporting the stuff that's out there and giving their opinion based on the stuff that's been put out there regarding this case, I just think it's a waste of time. It's a waste of your husband's money. And it's just stupid. It's like, so no, we can't sit up in here and have analyze stuff about what's going on with your case. Quiet as it's kept, this case isn't that interesting to be covering consistently for me. But with all this stuff coming in, and as somebody who is a content creator, I got to fight for the right of free speech. And that's why I'm talking about it. It's because of the free speech aspect. You trying to literally come up here and intimidate and bully people who are sitting up there reporting on your stuff. Now, if they came out with name calling and was being biased and whatever kind of stuff that was going on with your situation, then maybe you would have a leg to stand on. But people are literally up in here just reporting the news. And yeah, when you on YouTube and we talk about celebrities and we talk about things that's going on in current events or whatever the case is, yes, you'll make money from YouTube. When you have a certain amount, since you want to be nosy, when you have a certain amount of followers on YouTube, which I do, or once you get over that 1,000 follower hump or subscriber hump, you can monetize your content. I do monetize my content, and I get a check from YouTube every month. So yeah, we get paid to talk about, just like you get paid to pretending you actually know how to act when you be doing the movies and the TV shows you be doing. You get paid to sit up there and pretend to be somebody you're not. So we get paid to sit and talk about you and your shenanigans. So I don't know why it's so hard for her for this to comprehend. And now when people up here talking about you, now you want to sit there and try to sue? Or you want to get subpoenas or whatever the case is, because you so damn paranoid that you think just about donating money about as long as your husband's from that liquor line, the Mint Mobile, and the Deadpool, and you thinking all of that is supposed to be getting that our money's just as long as that. It's like, no. Him helping you with all that secretly? Okay, well, I'll definitely keep you guys abreast of this story as it develops. But I just think this whole thing is just ridiculous. Like, you just going after content creators who are just sitting up there and just reporting the story and breaking it down. It's not like they're just pulling things out they behind. There's people out here who's genuinely being responsible with the way that they're covering this story, and apparently it's just rubbing her the wrong way and natural. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? She has, there's way more people that she subpoenaed, but she at least dropped 3 of them based on the report. So whatever and look, I always said this: freedom of speech is under attack, not just from her, but the current administration. So if she wins this situation, it does put a lot of pressure on those of us out here who are content creators, who are just sitting here genuinely trying to report the news and come with as much accurate information as we can get our hands on. And if we make a mistake, I have no problems coming up on here and apologizing if I get something wrong. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Lanier says, oh wait, hold on. Did I miss some of these? I don't recall reading these. He said, I can't have empathy for this man. Oh, Harpo, who this man? I don't empathize with. Couple arrested Justin Timberlake for DWI last summer has been named Officer of the Year. I mean, he could be. Shout out to Sag Harbor, by the way. I've been to Sag. Well, y'all already know I've been to Sag Harbor. Quite a few times. My grandmother lives out in Sag Harbor. She must be influenced by Trump's machinations. That's why I compared her to him. Throwing tantrums when someone says something she deems not advantageous to her. She quickly coming off as a self-entitled. Exactly. She is coming across as a brat. That's why I said I don't know if I'm going to go as harsh as I did on her, like I did that last video, but it was harsh enough. I think Ryan is the one behind. He might be. I would not put nothing past. That's why you think I said when I threw it, I slid in that little read about your husband's money. But she probably used a lot of it. And there's some stories going around that Ryan is insanely jealous. He was very much like that when he was married to Scarlett Johansson. Luckily, she was smart enough to get up out of that tight-ass marriage. And she got her a good man, Savannah. The comedian from SNL. I wonder if I think he might have left. Colin Jost. Okay, y'all. So now we got about 4 more topics. So we are done with today's show. So before we get to the final 4, if you can please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. As you already know, I will be putting timestamps in after the live, so that way those who don't want to sit through all the banter can just go into the description, click on the timestamp, and then watch whatever story tickles your fancy. Was it really risque though? I mean, I didn't see it, but I heard a lot of people that was in the comments was telling me that she ruined the film. They liked the book, they didn't like how the movie turned out. And it was probably because, like, it was implied, or not even really implied, but it was said, I think in the suit, that she kind of just came in and tried to take over the movie. It's just about Dodie movie, and she just ran up in there like it was hers because she's Blake Lively. It's like, girl, you're not that big of a box office draw. Your husband is, but not you. All right, now let's talk about Uncle Shay, who is unemployed. Well, we all knew this was coming because he settled that lawsuit. They were kind of, I guess, keeping him on suspension a little bit. We all moved on with our lives. We didn't hear anything about it. We done forgot. We moved on. And then all of a sudden now, the tea came out that Shay Shay has been canceled over at the the ESPN. I know it's something with acronyms. So Shannon Sharpe, the former NFL star who took a hiatus as a commentator, I'm sure it wasn't his choice to take the hiatus, as a commentator on ESPN's First Take after he was accused of SA by a then girlfriend, is not returning to the sports cabler. The decision by ESPN comes after he settled the lawsuit earlier this month. Now, Sharpe has recently settled a $50 million R-word lawsuit by dropping millions on an OnlyFans model, which we all heard that she ended up quitting. And hello, when you got $50 million, you can wrap diamonds around that cootie cat. You don't need to be out here putting it on OnlyFans no more. You set for life. What do you need to be selling pussy for currency anymore when you got a $50 million payout? The former NFL star had not been with ESPN since late April when the victim, revealed by Sharpe's attorney to be named Gabriela Zuniga, had filed a civil suit. Well, you know she wasn't going to be a black woman. Y'all be surprised if she was a dark-skinned black woman. But they said, this is a serious situation and we agree with Shannon's decision to step away. It wasn't his decision. Sharpe saw his career fall apart after Zuniga, known for her adult content, claimed this TV personality had committed assault, sexual assault, battery, and engaged. You know, you got to watch the words you say up on YouTube, and that's why I'm giving sounds to, because I'm sure y'all can read between the lines, and engage in the intentional infliction of emotional distress during their relationship. Now, she also alleged the 57-year-old recorded their activities without her knowledge and then shared the videos with others without her permission or knowledge. Well, isn't that like revenge porn? Even if it's not for revenge purposes, like you showing people stuff, that's revenge porn. Now, or would that be under the whole guise of it? Now, in her original 13-page lawsuit filing, the 20-year-old claimed, why am I not surprised? She's 20, he's 57. Here's that thing where y'all be going after these young ones and didn't. Auntie Monique and Cat Williams are two soothsayers in the industry. Tell him to leave these young girls alone. And he went on that Club Shay Shay podcast. I can't leave him alone. I love him. Mm-hmm. And now look at you. Paying $50 million for some tied coochie and you unemployed. So, where was I? Because, after I went on that, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so now they say after playing back and forth, Zuniga's attorney, the notable Tony Busby got another big one under his belt, revealed to Radar Online both sides have reached an agreement. Now, after protected and respectful negotiations, I'm pleased to announce that we have reached a mutual agreement upon resolution. This is what he said in the statement. All matters have now been addressed satisfactorily, and the matter is closed. The lawsuit is thus be dismissed with prejudice, meaning that they can't take this back to court. Now, according to NBC Sports, Sharpe was expected to pay Zuniga an amount that likely exceeds $10 million. It looks like the unknown figure was enough for the adult star to call it quits after she revealed her next steps in a since-deleted Instagram message. She said, "Today, I have decided to retire from OF. Thank you for the incredible support you've shown me over the past few years. This community has given me life I could never, ever, ever imagine. I'll still be active on social media and have several new projects in the works that I can't wait to share." I'm like, well, after that well run dry with all that way she gonna spend that money, I'm sure she will be back on OF in no time flat. Now, Zuniga wasn't the only woman who accused Shannon of horrific things, as Michelle Evans claimed she also became romantically involved with the podcast host in the early 2000s when she was working as a local TV reporter covering his team in Denver. Evans exclusively told RadarOnline.com after she accused Shannon of cheating on her, he R-worded her while proclaiming his intent to make it so no other man would want me. She said, "I had flashbacks, I had panic attacks. It put me right back in the position I was in." However, Sharpe's lawyer once again defended his client against the allegations. He raged, "It would be no surprise that when someone famous is in the news, all sorts of people crawl out of the woodwork to share their connection to that person in an attempt to profit from their alleged relationship." Well, look, apparently she was able to profit from it because y'all wound up paying her over $10 million in hush money. Or as they try to say, it might be $50 million. Who knows? But the fact was, if you're not guilty, if you didn't do what was said, I'm fighting this sucker. I'm not sitting there paying all this money to some random shit. But look, you was told. They tried to warn you. But sometimes a lot of you men think with y'all little head instead of y'all big head. Well, you know what the little head is. I just said I ain't want to say the D word on the thing, but yeah. Shannon, you a dummy. In the words of Moment, you a dummy, bitch. So you get what you get. And now look at you. Careerless. We'll see. I don't know what's going on with Club Shay Shay. Is that still around? Do people even care? Are the numbers? Is Club Shay Shay still as popping like it was before this whole allegation thing came out? Because I don't know if he still had that same momentum. There was certain interviews that he was doing where I was side eyeing him anyway. So, I don't know. Shannon don't got. I think people have moved on from Shannon. Now we all in the Cam Newton and all these other ones that's out here coming out with interesting podcasts with far more interesting people to have conversations with. So yeah, that's the latest on this whole Shannon Sharpe situation. He's been fired from ESPN. They're trying to say he walked away and was they fired his ass. And I think that was in the cards for a while. So Shannon's out of a job. Shannon's paying money out of his situation because he don't know how to just have regular sex with women. You got to be out here acting like they cattle or property or whatever the case is, because a lot of you men don't know how to deal with y'all. Y'all don't know how to make y'all freak flag work in a way where y'all not taking advantage of these people that's not into the things that y'all into. But these girls go along with it because you the celebrity. That's why a lot of these older men get with these young girls, because it's like, y'all try to groom them into doing things because you can't ask no woman of a certain age to be doing that freaky stuff, because these women are already grounded. They're into who they are as women. They're self-assured. And like, no, I'm not doing that. You want to do what in my hair, on my face? You want to do what? Mm-mm. You better ask one of them other girls over there. That's why they go for these little 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds, because they don't know no damn better. They don't got a lot of mileage under their belt. They still got Similac on their breath. And it's easy for these older men to be trying to work these young girls to do stuff because they don't know no damn better. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. With all that being said, okay. That's what I was doing. I was doing Precious. And so who's the next white model to suit? Okay. That's what happened when they keep running after these old Beckys. Club white blonde toe fit. How many licks? Okay. To get a big fish. Well, look, these girls know what they be doing out here with these men. They so damn dumb. Y'all get wrapped up in it. His first mistake was chasing after, okay? They too often come with exactly. And if anybody would know, it's Linnea. So, these hustlers mentality, where they be out here, when you chasing after these adult performers, you already know they state of mind, a lot of them. So it's like, when you going after those people, instead of just like getting you a regular girlfriend, what you thought? She was like, she looked at your dumb ass and saw a jackpot. She saw a gold mine. And because these older men, and Shannon looked like he got that CTE, like a lot of stuff ain't working upstairs all that well. So it'd be easy to take advantage of him. Okay, so now we got to go from one assault situation to another. On the homosexual side, let's get into Michael Tait. So we have been talking and keeping abreast of Michael Tait's stuff on social media. Well, as y'all know, he is one of the biggest names to come out of the whole Christian rock scene. And we did talk a bit about how there was an investigation. I think it was a 2-year investigation into him in regards to like some alleged assault allegations of other men behind the scenes with drugging and abuse and all these other things in that nature. And we have the story. It's extended. It's a lot. We're going to break it down. So you're going to have to bear with me. It is graphic. Shout out to The Guardian because they had all the tape. So we didn't hear about anything regarding anybody coming at him and accusing him of this stuff. We had heard that they did an investigation and they discovered some things. Well, child, when I read this whole situation, and now all the stuff had came out about him, and 8 men basically came out and accused him of SA. Oh, let's get into it. This is some shit that would rival Shangela. Yeah, I had to throw her behind up in this because she another one. Now, allegedly. Now, according to The Guardian, two more men have come forward to accuse Christian rock superstar and MAGA firebrand. These all these maggots. This is basically what's showing y'all all a bunch of weirdos and abusers of. And here's what he did. Allegedly, he drugged and SA'd them, including Jason Jones, the founding manager of the American hard rock band Evanescence. Now, Jones says that he was fired from the band, which has ties to Tait, for speaking out about his alleged assault. Jones said the firing, which he claimed happened in 1999, cut him out of Evanescence's massive success beginning in 2003. I forgot they were a Christian rock band. That's why I could never get into them. The only song I know about from Evanescence, that stupid ass song. That was the only song from them that I was aware of. But after that, I was like, when I started hearing Christian rock and already my triggers going off about Christianity and the hatred of gays, and I was like, red flag, abort, abort, abort. Oh, I said a word they don't like. That's a trigger for them. Now, he said it destroyed me. I was achieving my dreams at an early age, and Tait changed all of that. Now, Evanescence co-founder Ben Moody denied Jones was fired from the band for speaking out against Tait. Moody says he does recall Jones telling him about a sexual encounter with Tait, but at the time, Moody interpreted it as consensual. He said, I was a kid, only 18, and clearly didn't realize what he was going through. This is what Moody said. I'm sure I missed a lot of things I recognize today. I didn't realize he was traumatized. Well, yeah, when you're 18, you don't understand how to unpack or deal with all of that. So you're just gonna, go along with it. Or kind of just dismiss it because you don't know how to receive that kind of stuff. Your frontal lobe hasn't fully developed yet. So it's like if somebody came at me with those type of allegations and sexual, like I wouldn't know how to handle that. Now today I would, because I have the information, because I have all the other stuff that goes along with it. So you know how to handle all that better. So now in all, 8 alleged victims have now come forward publicly with SA allegations against Tait. A previous investigation by The Guardian reported allegations of SA by Tait against 3 young men, while another from the Christian news outlet, The Roy's Report, reported allegations by 3 other men. Tait became famous as the frontman for DC Talk and Newsboys, 2 Christian mega bands known for packaging conservative rhetoric about sexual abstinence, even though you wasn't even practicing what the hell you was preaching, sobriety, which you wasn't practicing that either, because remember, there was drugs involved, and we talked about that in the last show. Christian nationalism and the coming rapture of catchy rock songs. Tait has also been a supporter of I Will Vote for Donald Trump, and served as a key bridge between Trump and evangelical voters. Talk about self-hatred. You hate yourself for being a homosexual and a black man. 2 things that his party don't particularly care for. Now, Tait has not responded to questions from The Guardian about the allegations against him, but in an IG post in June, Tait confessed in a decades-long addiction to booger sugar and alcohol, even though you was sitting here writing songs about abstinence and sobriety. You was out here putting all that white narcotic up your damn nose. I'm surprised you got cartilage left and liquor, and admitted that he had at times touched men in an unwanted sensual way. Well, I don't know what's sensual about SA, but go off niece. Now, in the post, Tait added that he had recently spent 6 weeks in a treatment center in Utah, which means nothing they didn't help you up in there. They probably was feeding you much more propaganda for you to feel guilty about your sexual desires because you, as a man, can't come to terms with the fact that you're a faggot, and now you got to go in and have and take advantage of other men because your deepest, darkest desires of what you really want, you can't have it because what the church teaches regarding homosexuality. That's what I'm getting from all of this. But call me crazy. But, I'm a good analyzer. I do love me some Sigmund Freud. Now, Jones was described by friends who knew him in the 90s as a happy-go-lucky Christian teenager, bursting with ambition and creativity. Growing up in Arkansas, Jones remembers one of his biggest dreams was to meet DC Talk. Now, Jones achieved the dream in 94 after moving to Nashville to manage the band of his friend, Randall Crawford, who was also friends with Tait and introduced the two. Jones recalled going to McDonald's with the DC Talk frontman and being mobbed by so many teenage fans they had to leave before getting their food. That kind of thing happened a lot, he said. Jones was thrilled to be welcomed in Tait's inner circle, yet he was taken aback by what he described as Tait's proclivity for randomly grabbing other men's genitals. He said he eventually learned that Tait was living a double life as a closeted homosexual man, which was becoming a problem for a band mentored by Moral Majority's co-founder, Jerry Falwell, who called AIDS God's punishment for homosexuality. Now, while surprised, Jones held a no negative feeling towards Tait's sexuality, even taking him to gay clubs in Little Rock at Tait's request when DC Talk performed there. Wait, y'all performed in gay clubs or you performed in Little Rock, Arkansas? Child, quiet as it's kept. I didn't even know Arkansas had gay clubs. Now, Jones was regularly traveling back and forth from Nashville to Little Rock, and in '95, he met aspiring musician Moody, the two of them hitting it off and collaborating on a project that will come to be named Evanescence. After co-founding the first Evanescence demo, Jones returned to Nashville and began talking up the band to his friend Tait. Now, Jones, as an evangelical, was sober and a virgin at the time, but he recalls getting caught up in a whirlwind of partying with Tait in '95, chain smoking cigarettes and Mary Jane, and closing down bars, then returning to Tait's house to continue drinking. Jones said he was uncomfortable with all of it, but was eager for Tait's approval so he could pile. So you were in a position where you felt that you were trying to really influence this guy, or you were really trying to be impressionable and all this other stuff, and then all of a sudden you just went and foregone all your morals and what you were believing for just so that way you can get approval from this man who basically took advantage of you after the fact with his, demonic desires. And I'm not saying demonic like being gay is demonic. The way of the fact, because it's not. It's natural, is a part of life, nature, animals, mammals, and things of that nature. Like homosexuality has existed long before the Bible was written by the man, basically, because that's who wrote the book. I don't know, some of y'all are probably out here going to be shocked when I say that, but yes, man wrote the Bible. So when you have this type of situation where you're taught that you're going to hell, it's a sin, it's an abomination, you have these deep desires and feelings, and you're so afraid to act them out, now you're sitting there thinking, I got to drug people, I got to do all this other stuff in order to get my rocks off, when that shouldn't even be it. You're sitting there wrestling with your faith, but also, and I know there's people out there that believe in God and then have this thing where they battle their belief in Christ and faith and all other stuff, and then dealing with their homosexual feelings. And it's like, you can believe in a higher power. I think there is something bigger than all of us out there. But the fact of the matter is, I don't want to be a part of something that tells me I'm going to hell for something that I was born with. So yeah, we're not listening to that ugly bitch Azealia Banks, where she out here saying that being gay is an abomination or whatever the hell it was her dumb ass said. I forgot we stopped talking about her on this show. We're not, she don't exist. She's like Thanos took her ass away in a snap. Now let's get back to the article. He said, I had this band that I was trying to take places. This is what Jones recalled. And Tait had the power to open doors for us in the industry. So I went along with whatever, but didn't know what it would cost me. Now, Jones used his connection with Tait to help Evanescence get a foot in the door in Nashville, speaking with AR people, record labels, venue owners, producers, and musicians. Sources that wish to remain anonymous allege that Tait had a rotation of attractive young men at his Nashville home at the time, some of them underage, and that Tait had a no clothes allowed rule in his hot tub. He would put his penis against one of the jets and tell us to do the same. Anything saying, see, it feels good, recalling a source who visited Tait regularly at this time and wishes to remain anonymous. So it's funny how a lot of y'all talk about Christian values and those other stuff, and this is the stuff that's going on. And y'all was all aware of the sexual proclivities that was happening, but y'all look the other way because you're in the industry, get along to get along, you don't want to lose your job. So that's why I find it funny. Y'all all try to cloak all of this with church this and church that. But at the end of the day, it's all about business. It's all about money. It's all about protecting one's assets. And so much abuse goes on, and it could be in the Christian industry, the regular music industry, just whatever kind of industry. And it's crazy how that. But anyway, let me just reserve my thoughts and get through this article. I knew this was going to happen when I was going to go through it because I can't help myself. I'm like, it's like it's gonna go in with the banter on top of the tea. But let's get back to the tea. They said he was all about the shock factor. This is what Crawford said, who was close with Jones and Tait throughout the 90s. He was always saying, let's make out in front of these people. And I was like, no, you're going to destroy your career. But he felt untouchable. And in some ways he was. Well, yeah, when you have all that power and you had someone who is like, oh, I know the A&R people, the record labels, the venue owners, the producers, the musicians, but you know all these people and you hold all that power in the palm of your hands. You feel like a lot of them, like the Diddys, the Trumps, whoever. I could do whatever the hell I want, and there's nothing you can do about it. But it's like, oh no, there's always a bottom that you're gonna hit, and then that reality comes in, and your career is over. And here we are. This is why we're telling this story, because he's hit his bottom. Now, around the same time, Crawford recalls Tait driving him through the campus of Liberty University, Falwell's Christian College, where DC Talk formed, speeding at 60 miles per hour and getting pulled over by campus security, who turned from anger to laughter when seeing Tait behind the wheel, even asking for pictures and autographs. So yeah, as always, they look a different way when it's somebody famous. After they left, Michael turned to me, calm as ever, and said, I could do anything and not get in trouble. Now, Jones recalls drinking at Tait's house one night in late 1998, just after DC Talk finished rehearsals for their Supernatural album tour. Jones remembers feeling tired suddenly, and Tait recommended he go sleep in his bedroom, saying, quote, I felt honored that he felt that close to me, that he trusted me enough to let me sleep in his bed. Child, aren't you naive? Now, sometimes later, Jones recalled waking up, his pants missing, and Tait was giving him a baloney wash. He says, I said no and pushed him off, but then somehow I passed out again. I woke back up and he was still doing it. I said no again, then nodded off. And then I woke up a third time, aggressively shouting no and pushed him harder. It was then that he left me alone. Looking back, Jones said, I believe that Michael Tait drugged me. Now, two alleged victims from The Guardian previously reported that they believe they were drugged by Tait before his alleged assaults. In addition, a female accuser cited by the Roy's report said she believed that Tait supplied Rohypnol or some other sedative to a crew member on a Newsboys tour who also then drugged and R-worded her while Tait watched. Distraught and in need of comfort, Jones flew home to Little Rock the day after he said he was assaulted. There, he confided with a friend and mentor who wishes to remain anonymous that he had a bad experience with Tait, but wouldn't go into details. He wasn't the same after that, Jones's friend recalled. Jones said that in early '99, he had also confided in his friend and Evanescence co-founder Ben Moody about being SA'd by Tait. Ben was only 18 at the time, new to the music industry, and I wanted to warn him. Jones recalled, Tait was flying Ben out to Nashville to write songs together to see if he fit in Tait's inner circle. Moody remembers things differently. He said he didn't frame it as SA. This is what Moody said. He described it as like frat boy joking around while they were drunk, with Tait saying, what's the big deal? A dick's just a muscle. And Jason said, next thing I know, he was sucking my dick. Oh, so that's what we doing? This is what we doing. It was on and popping in '99. So y'all thinking this is frat boy behavior? Do they do this in fraternities? Let me know in the comments. I never pledged, so I don't know. Okay, so then they said Jones said he remains confident that he told Moody the full details of the assault, and Ben probably didn't give a good goddamn because his career popped off, and that's more important. You'd be surprised how many people will forego their morals and the things they believe in just so that way they can get their dreams fulfilled. Happens all the time. Now, Jones said he remains confident. He told Moody full details, including that he verbally and physically resisted Tait 3 times as his consciousness came and went. Moody said he soon noticed a change in Jones' demeanor. Jones, a passionate, fun-loving guy who was easily to get along with, began suffering manic swings from depression to rage to paranoia and then dissociation. After a late-night studio, he couldn't get the car shifter into gear, and he just started screaming, hurling his body around, jerking the shifter violently like he was going to break it off. Moody said He and the band began wondering if they should continue working with Jones. In retrospect, I didn't know what he was going through. Looking back, I would have been a bit more attentive, but I was a typical 18-year-old who wanted to be a rock star. Exactly. And that's why I think that that's what happened. What was happening with him? Jones was abused. Jones didn't know, he didn't know how to handle this traumatic experience. So any little thing that was going off, he was lashing out. He was acting out. He didn't know how to deal with those. We had to deal with those type of feelings in 1999. We weren't men. We weren't talking about getting in touch with our feelings back then. We weren't dealing with sexual assault and things of that nature. So yeah, he's gonna lash out, and he's a young guy. So young people don't really know how to handle their feelings if they don't have the tools to deal with what they're dealing with. So yeah, he's gonna lash out. Yeah, he's gonna do things that he's gonna do, and then people are looking at it like, okay, he's doing too much. He's crashing out. You're gonna mess up our situation, and you gotta go. So that's probably why they got rid of him. But I also agree with Ben where he's saying like, I was a typical 18-year-old who wanted to be a rock star. Like I didn't understand how to handle whatever it was that you were dealing with. I was a kid. Now, Moody said that in a phone call with Tait, he mentioned that Jones had told him about a encounter between them in which Tait then denied, saying, I wanted to get ahead of Jason talking ish about us and ruining the whole thing. Back then, there were rumors about Michael Tait was gay. And at that point, right after DC Tour's Grammy-winning album, Jesus Freak, he was the biggest thing in Christian music history, and the scandal would have been a huge deal. So yeah, it was like he was the biggest thing. The Christian music industry was making a shit ton of money. They were all aware that he was a big old queen, and they weren't going to let anybody rock the boat. They're like, no, we got to keep this secret. We got to do what we got to do to make sure that this don't get out. And hence why they were talking about the investigations. There was people that was going around knowing about stuff. There was somebody that I told y'all before when I was on, when I posted a video about Michael Tait on TikTok. I literally had somebody in the comments tell me that they were on the same label. Another black guy they were on the same label, and it's an open secret. A lot of people knew about Michael Tait and what was going on behind the scenes, that he was into dudes and having sex with dudes and this, that, and the other. I don't know if they were aware of the assaults that were going on and the drug use and things, but they all knew about Miss Mamas. So trust and believe, if y'all thought that they didn't know that he was out here doing things that he shouldn't have been doing, it's funny how y'all call homosexuality a sin, but y'all looking the other way because y'all profiting off of this man who is considered one of the most powerful people in Christian rock music. So now Jones and Moody differ on whether he was fired or quit, but both recall the incident with Tait. However, it was characterized as the turning point of the relationship. He said, I hid away after that. I started snorting meth, then smoking it. His isolation and drug binge would continue for 5 years. Now, Moody said that he regrets how things went down with Jones back then. He was my best friend over so many years, and now I ask myself, how effing blind could I have been? Very, because all you cared about was being a rock star. And you got what you wanted. For how brief? Do people still listen to Evanescence? Evanescence went on to be one of the biggest bands in the world, winning Best New Artist and Best Hard Rock Performance at the Grammys in 2003, and eventually selling tens of millions of albums. Excuse me. The following year, Moody and Tait would go on to be roommates and musical collaborators, with Tait singing on Moody's Soul album and Moody producing Tait's soul album Loveology in 2003. Moody left Evanescence to pursue a solo career. Now, Evanescence co-founder Amy Lee and other reps for the band cannot be reached for comment. Oh no, she didn't say nothing, but we know Hayley Williams said something. Didn't Hayley Williams also release a whole bunch of music? I don't know if it was an album, but she just threw a whole bunch of music and just put it out there. But what is it? Amy, not Amy Lee. So yeah, Hayley Williams, she went and came out and said a whole bunch of stuff about going against the Christian music industry. Some of y'all knew about what was going on and did nothing. So yeah, she went on a whole rant about it. We talked about it. Like Moody Crawford remembers his friend Jones as a happy guy, a real sweetheart, but all that changed after '98. I could tell something had happened. He didn't tell me about it at the time, but he has since. And I believe him because the same thing happened to me. Crawford first met DC Talk when the band was filming the music video for its first single, Heaven Bound. In 1989, Crawford was working in a movie theater at the same Nashville mall the band was filming in. He loved their debut cassette, and when they came to catch a movie, he introduced himself and gave them a discount. Crawford remembers his friend Jason Jones getting squeezed out of the management position of Evanescence in early '99 and that it had something to do with Tait, but was unaware of specifics at the time. Back then, Crawford was an ambitious musician and was being hired to write songs for solo projects for Tait and DC Talk's Toby Mac. I remember Toby Mac. The band went on hiatus in 2000 and never officially reunited. Mac's project was later nominated for a Grammy and Dove Award. Crawford had also just signed his own record deal for his band Webster County. Now, Crawford recalls being distraught over a breakup one night in the fall of 2000 and Tait inviting him over to hang out. You'll bounce back, he recalls Tait saying as he handed him a shot glass of Maker's Mark whiskey. I told him just one and took the shot, he recalls. I had pretty high tolerance for alcohol at the time, but I blacked out shortly after I took that one drink. Oh, he pulled the Bill Cosby on you. Now, Crawford said that his memory picks up sometime later, finding himself propped up on Tait's kitchen counter, his pants around his ankles. My legs were in the air, and Tait, child, I told you it's about to get graphic. Tait was how do I put? Okay, I'm gonna just say he was eating his ass. Basically, he was going down on that pussy. And they said, "I said, what are you doing, dude?" And then he said the weirdest thing. He said, "Hey, man, did you catch the Colts game last week? Like we were just hanging out chatting. Why are you talking about the Colts? And you eat my behind?" It's like, man, why are you talking about football? So they said Crawford said that he fled Tate's house, but has no memory of driving home. Well, I don't know how, whatever drug he put up in your stuff, that's kind of dangerous to be driving. He said he is convinced that Tait drugged him. Two close friends of Crawford have corroborated his story. One of them confirmed that Crawford told him details of the alleged assault at the time, but only named the perpetrator 2 years ago. The other friend said he was told the whole story at the time, saying, quote, "I was never the same after that," Crawford said. "The joy and drive I have for music went away. Suddenly I had stage fright for the first time, brain fog, anger issues, depression, and was even suicidal for a time. It ruined my career." Despite having finished recording the album for his band, Crawford felt unable to perform as a musician and the record was never released. But both Jones and Crawford recall thinking their assaults were isolated incidents. No, it was a bunch of people, and I'm sure it's more than 8 that have come out and been abused by this man. And it's just, so, this is just disgusting how there are people out here who just have this dream. And it's not just happening in the Christian music world. It happens a lot in a lot of aspects of the industry. People just want to come out here and live their dream and just, show their talent and make it out of whatever situation that they're into. And you get these people in powerful positions that want to use their power, their influence, or just their self-hatred, whatever you got going on inside, and just taking it out on these other people and just thinking like, oh, I'm gonna just drug this person. They're not gonna remember what happened or whatever the case is. And it's like, if you come out, then you're gonna ruin their career. But I'm glad the people are speaking out now. So he went on to say, after not speaking for years, Tait re-entered his life in 2020. Crawford's wife was a musician herself, and Tait had offered to produce her album. So I had buried the memory of that night for a long time. After seeing Tait again, Crawford said a lot of feelings came to the surface, and he found himself weeping uncontrollably in the shower. After confessing to his wife what had happened, she encouraged him to enroll in EMDR trauma therapy, which he says has been helpful. Saying, "Hearing Jason's story recently broke my heart," he said after reuniting with his friend Jones decades later. "I believe we'd both be in the music industry today if it weren't for Michael Tait." So yeah, if you have this person coming around and just taking advantage and destroying people's lives, and shout out to Jones, who's been sober since 2008, and he left the music industry. He worked in banking and co-directed a sober living facility. Now today, what he's doing, he's traveling around the country sharing his story of abuse and addiction, not mentioning Tait's name when recounting the experience. And I think that's a good thing too. It's like, you know what? I think more conversations need to be had about men who are experiencing abuse. Because like I said before, while you get a lot of women who get abused and their stories go underreported, men, it's worse. There's a lot more men out here who have experienced sexual abuse and all that other stuff, and it goes underreported due to shame or whatever the case is. Oh, you liked it, you must be like, you hear all that stupid misogynistic crap. So I'm glad that this guy is going, that he's going around and just speaking out on his experience and teaching, letting people know that, what I went through, I can get through it. And if I went through it and came out on the other side victorious, you can do the same thing. So I think that's just very encouraging. And it's sad that you have a dream and it gets ruined from somebody like this guy doing this. Like I said, Moody disputed the notion that Jones had ever had the right to compensation for his management efforts in the early days of Evanescence, because he said his lawyers basically said that had he pursued the matter sooner, he would be entitled to up to tens of millions of dollars in compensation, because there's a whole situation about statute of limitations. And I guess because of the suit from Evanescence, so he don't get money. But Booty talking about he don't get money. But I'm like, I don't know if you get to determine that. The law is the law, and if he had time to be up in there and be able to get compensation, then he would have been able to get it. But he just waited too late. Now looking back 27 years later, Jones recalled the night he told Moody about what had happened to him, warning him not only about Tait, but about the music industry in general. He recited a quote from the magazine journalist Hunter S. Thompson, who said, "The music business is a cruel and shallow money trench, a long plastic hallway where thieves and pimps run free." And that's true for the Christian music industry as well, even more so in my case. And that's why I've been telling y'all. So y'all sitting up here thinking that Christianity, the Christian church and everything, or not even the church, but just the Christian music industry is just wholesome. And that's because that's the image that they perpetuate. There's a lot of snakes, a lot of pimps, a lot of people, like the worst of the worst is running around in these little circles. And I'm glad that he has put this out there and pointed this out. So shout out to all of y'all that had to endure this kind of abuse. It's crazy that y'all had to endure this. And I hope Michael Tait gets what's coming to him. And I'm sure that we only got 8 so far, but I'm sure that they'll probably, after this story has been put out there, and who knows, maybe some more victims will see this video that I'm going to cut up and put up on all the socials. We'll see this, and it'll spark something within them to come forward and tell their story and file their lawsuits, because somebody like this, it's sad that unfortunately we have to have an example. And I know some people are gonna be like, well, I mean, he's gay, he's gonna set us back. Don't lump him in with us, because not all gays are perverts, abusers, child molesters. He's fulfilling that stereotype, that the type of thing that he's in Christianity. That's that BS that they like to put out here and set examples for. But it's like, if y'all knew that, then why were y'all silent for over 3 decades? Because y'all was making money. So y'all looked the other way and let this man do what he was doing to all these other people. So all that homosexuality is a sin, you're going to hell, y'all can shove all that up there and sit and spin on it with it like that. Do it on there, and I hope you get shit on the end too. So y'all can take all that and shove it up your ass. Nobody wants to hear it. But it just goes to show how hypocritical a lot of y'all are when it comes to the whole religious, rhetoric that y'all spew out here. So, and Michael, with all this stuff you've done, you could burn in hell for all I care, if there is one. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? This long ass story that I had to tell y'all, but I wanted to give y'all all the details, all the explicit details, courtesy of The Guardian. And I don't think this story is going away anytime soon. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Okay. My Oscar Mayer has a name, Baloney Mess. Okay. Well, y'all know what a baloney wash is. Y'all be coming up with my own terms on here. When you mentioned his being in DC Talk in your first report, that's when it hit me. I had a couple of their CDs before my coming out. Unlike him, I stopped fanning when I came to the truth. Okay. And if only he would have came to the same revelation that you did. Those shut up. Those Mormon boys be moaning. It's like, oh, we know. Oh, they be getting turned out in a minute. I understand you're going off. Hearing these tales of Michael Tait confirmed that peace of mind I feel for my coming out. It reminds me that I came out because I never wanted to be him. Exactly. I don't want to, there's nothing wrong with people being who they are. Not the Ovaltine. Wait, was she a Christian? I didn't know that about Debbie Gibson. I don't know. She did like a lot of that wholesome teen music. All right, y'all. So now let's get into some Drag Race news. I need to clear the palate of all that mess that I just had to talk about. I just feel dirty after that. Let's get into some Drag Race news, and let's talk about, we got an update on this whole situation. So y'all already know Mistress and Willem clearly don't like each other, and that's fine. Everybody's not going to be required to like each other out in these good old streets, these good old drag race streets. But in addition to Willem and Mistress fighting and Willem bringing up things about Mistress behind the scenes of how she works with other queens and works in other venues and this, that, and the other, I guess Mistress was feeling away because she felt like Willem is coming over here and trying to sabotage her livelihood because you out here telling things that allegedly you had heard through the grapevine from other queens behind the scenes when it's not your experience, but that's between them. So with all of that being said, the baddies, Acid and Daya, wound up jumping in on the line. And Acid Betty, as we talked about in the previous story, she posted a picture of Willem in blackface and said, not Acid Betty being the only drag queen with the balls to acknowledge Willem's disgusting actions. I knew I could count on her. That's what one person said. And she said, at Mistress Isabel Brooks told the tea on Willem. Everything she said about that clout chaser was so true. The only Alaska 5000 saying silent is liberal gold. Then we had this situation that came up because I was like, oh, I got to bring this to y'all. So then Diabetica went and posted this on her page. Hold on, let me take that out. I don't know if y'all can read it because it's real little. But hold on, because I actually do have it where I can read it. So yeah, so she said, is there a reason at Willem and the only Alaska 5000 haven't reached out to Acid Betty yet? Where is the apology, let alone a simple conversation in general? They were so quick to have Shakrala on, I think that's how you say her name, or their name, on their pod to discuss his side of the paper dress in which he made and didn't get paid for, which was manufactured to make him look like a victim, which in return caused my sister to get tons of unnecessary hate and trolling comments. Now that at Acid Betty has shared her side of the story on the Petty Betty podcast, it has been silence from them. Seems like they are just feeding into the drama at others' expense. Do better. Practice what you preach. So there was a whole situation that was going around, and the fact that they invited a designer on the show, there was a paper dress situation that went on, and it was going on during when All Stars 10 was on, and felt like Alaska has kind of been radio silent in a lot of the drama that's been going on. And I always felt like, you know what, maybe she doesn't need to assert herself in things that don't have anything to do with her. So it was like, oh, I'm gonna just mind the business that pays me, which I totally understand that. Like, I'm not going to jump in. But then again, but then I feel if you're going to do a show where it's you and Willem and you're going to have somebody on that spills tea about somebody else, then it is a part of the, it is, damn, I can't even speak. You should do your due diligence to apologize or just speak up on a situation and not just be silent while Willem is taking all the situation. And I'm sure Willem is a big girl. She can handle herself amongst all the hate that she's getting, not only from some of the fandom, but MIB and the Bettys. But yeah, Alaska, you was in on this too. You were, in a way, you were seen as a co-conspirator. And you should have spoke up on it. So with all that being said, she probably did speak out because I guess she felt like, you want to know something? Y'all are right. I'm with you when you're right. So she actually did come out and speak out. I got the video courtesy of Reddit. Shout out to y'all. Where they had the recent episode of, the Race Chaser podcast. And she came out and spoke out. We're going to play that video and then we're going to come back and talk. Please hold.
I want to officially take a moment to apologize to Acid Betty. Listen, things have gotten out of hand. Untruths were told. Honestly, I'm an acting producer on this podcast and this network. We never should have had one person's side of the story on without having the other person's story. I apologize. I really hope that we can move on from this. If the dress wasn't burned up, I think it should be put in the Smithsonian. Thank you for being patient with us, everyone. And you know what? We're sorry. Period.
This was not something I should have tried to transvestigate. We have Luscious Massacre for that.
Her rates are fair.
It wasn't like I was relishing the chance to take somebody down, but I was trying to bring clarity to a situation which was none of my business. Two people had a dispute. One of them wanted me to get in the middle of it. I got in the middle of it, It's
And
caused
we shouldn't
you
have.
pain. It's caused me stress. And it didn't make anybody look good in the end.
So the next time anyone has a grievance or a personal problem and wants to come on our podcast, I'm
Don't.
sorry we are not available.
All right. Well, look, I just feel like you can have people on because, I mean, I've interviewed people and stuff before. You can have people on to tell their side of the story, but my thing is this: if you're going to have somebody on and tell their side, then you need to provide a space where you have Acid come on and tell her side of the story. And after that, you leave it up to the fandom to make whatever, to decide on what they want to decide on. I shouldn't have to be able to wait until I'm on my own podcast, The Betties, to be able to defend myself on some stuff that fans are just seeing one-sided situation. And then what they do is, instead of just watching what happened and minding the business that pays them, they go on social media and start spewing a whole bunch of hate towards other queens. And that's not y'all place to be doing that, especially when you don't know what happened or what was transpiring. I like Acid Betty. Acid Betty is one of the good ones from the New York club scene. So her getting a bulk of that hate was just unnecessary in my opinion. And I feel like, yeah, as pundits, we do have a responsibility that, and that's like what I said before when I interviewed Daniel McGarrigle. When he went and said what he said about Shangela, I was like, and if Shangela want to come on the show and tell her side of the story, she can do that. She ain't do it yet, but she ain't come on but I leave the door open, and I feel like that's what all pundits should do. It's like, I'm sure y'all all know somebody that got somebody's number, and you could have had Acid come on the show and tell her side of the story about this old paper dress. So I know this sounds so ridiculous when you're thinking about it, but this is Drag Race T. But I'm just glad that they were able to squash it, work it out. Well, they said what they said on their end. Hopefully the Bettys on the next episode of their show will come out and respond to this and give their overall thoughts. And I just hope we can put this to bed. And just like I hope that this whole Willem MIB situation is put to bed, because I don't want to keep talking about that situation anymore. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story about, in regards of Alaska's apology? I hope that was a real sincere apology and not just Alaska doing her Alaska isms on camera, that she really genuinely meant that, you know what, it was a poor situation. It was a poor judgment that I shouldn't have just responded or just had this platform be what it was. And then we just sat silent as all of this was going down. So in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I was so bored and couldn't help myself yesterday and looked at All Stars. You was that bored. He said, I didn't find out much and I'm already losing my love for the show. Well, it's probably because a lot wasn't going on. I just feel like, you know what? Y'all really either come up with a new concept or just leave All Stars alone. I think we need a break from all of these other iterations of All Stars. So this is too much. Willem has been acting very angelic since the beat up. Well, she got her ass beat by Mistress. I ain't gonna hold you. I like Willem, but Mistress ate her up, and so maybe she's trying to turn over a new leaf. All right, so now speaking of, let's get our final topic. Now I know we said I'm tired of All Stars and all other stuff, but look, at least we get something different. This is basically like our All Stars, Drag Race Philippines. We're getting all the Asian girls together, for like a versus the world type situation. It just got a better name. So now we got an idea of who are going to be the upcoming guest judges on the upcoming season of Drag Race Philippines Slaysian Royale. So shout out to Entertainment Weekly for this tea. So Entertainment Weekly has an emotional exclusive trailer previewing Drag Race Philippines Slaysian Royale, the first ever all-Asian All-Stars edition in Drag Race franchise history. The teaser reintroduces 12 queens from 8 different international versions of the show, from the US season 10's Yuhua Hamasaki Returns, all the way to 5 cast members from the Filipino edition. Now together, as introduced by host Paulo Ballesteros, The queens will vie for the title in a showdown no other, because this isn't just drag. This is Slaysian royalty, said to be judged by a revolving door of guests, including recent AAPI drag winners like Sasha Colby and Nymphia Wynn, to international icons like Global All-Stars winner Alyssa Edwards, All-Stars 8 champ Jimbo, UK versus the World star Marina Summers, and Drag Race Thailand host Pangina Heels. And some of the drag that I was seeing with some of the girls, particularly Pangina, I was living for. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing this when it comes out. And then it said, it seemed like it was a lot of really interesting stuff that the queens and stuff was saying. I even like Sasha. I was like, does Sasha get some work done? Like, her lips look like they were a little bigger. But Sasha was looking good too. Now, in addition to the aforementioned judges, and I have the full list, we'll get into that in a second. The queens competing on the season include Arizona Brandy, Drag Race Philippines Season 2, Bernie from Drag Race Philippines Season 2, Bridget Ding from Drag Race Philippines Season 1, Ivory Glaze from Drag Race Down Under Season 3, Kiana from Drag Race Philippines Season 3, Kitty Space, Drag Race France Season 2, Madame Yoko from Drag Race Belgique Season 2, Shiam Fursri, I think that's how you say their name, Drag Race Thailand Season 3, Suki Doll from Canada's Drag Race Season 2, and Venus Deluxe from Drag Race Philippines Season 1. So, while no shirt, I'm not really all that excited for the queens competing, I am excited for these judges. So, I'll just watch it for that. Now, also joining the new series are two fan favorite after shows. We're getting Fashion Photo Review, hosted by Drag Race Season 2 runner-up Raven and Raja, who won Season 3, and Binge Queens, co-hosted by pairs Melinda Verga and Joella, and Angina and Didi Marie Holiday. Now, of the new Slaysian Royale venture, World of Wonder founders said in a press statement, this new version of Drag Race shines a spotlight on Asian drag as never before, celebrating its culture, its history, and creativity in a unique battle royale. So, the list of the judges: captivating Cat Cat from Drag Race Philippines Season 2, that she actually won that season. Sasha Colby, who won Season 15 of Drag Race. Alyssa Edwards from Global All-Stars, she won that one. Pangina Heels, who is a Drag Race Thailand host and Drag Race UK versus the World contestant. Jimbo, who is a All-Stars Season 8 winner. Marina Summers from Drag Race Philippines Season 1 runner-up. And RuPaul's Drag Race UK versus the World Season 2 contestant. Maxie from Drag Race Philippines Season 3, Precious Paula Nicole from Drag Race Philippines Season 1, she also won that season, Drag Race Season 16 winner Nymphia Wind, and Jervy Khaled Karen Wrightson, who is an actress, TV host, and writer. So those are your judges. And the show premieres on August 13th, which I think is a Friday. I was trying to think how many episodes. Well, if they have a bunch of judges, it got to be about 10 or 11 episodes. But yeah, so Drag Race Philippines Slaysian Royale premieres on Friday, August 13th on Wow Presents Plus, with Binge Queens debuting on August 15th and Fashion Photo Review on August 16th. So I'm wondering, we'll probably get all of that on YouTube and stuff. I'll definitely be checking this show out when it comes out. So yeah, I'm pretty much excited for this show when it comes out. I definitely want to hear from y'all. I was gonna say, what happened? I hit the wrong button. I was trying to downsize it. So yeah, there's a little something. So are y'all ready for some Slaysians to slay and all that good stuff? I definitely want to hear from y'all. So I want to hear, yeah, as I said, I want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Are you excited to see this upcoming Slaysian Royale show? Are you excited about the judges and things of that nature? So yeah. I'm kind of over the whole regular seasons of Drag Race. I'm here for a little something different. So I'll be definitely checking out WoW when that show comes out. So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Yeah, they didn't have Manoa on there. I would have loved if Jiggly was still alive for her to be on this show. It would have been so good to have her back on, but sadly we don't. I saw a preview of Project Runway and saw Manila in a quick clip. I think they're doing a drag inspired. They might as well. Remember when they did a drag inspired? Well, of course they got to do that because of Oh my God, my name. Because of oh my God, Utica. I almost forgot her damn name. I was like, yeah, they could make that. But remember when they tried to do a drag challenge and RuPaul was on there, and RuPaul's look was definitely a choice. But I don't know if that. I know it premieres tonight, but I'm wondering because it's on Hulu. Do I gotta wait till tomorrow to watch it? That's probably when I'm going to be able to see it. I'm going to have to probably wait till tomorrow, which is fine because there's a couple other things I need to catch. But them doing a Dragon Space inspired challenge, that definitely sounds pretty cool. And I'm excited that Project Runway is coming back. I am still upset that we're not getting Tim Gunn, but Laura Roche is there, Nina Garcia's there, excuse me, Christian Siriano's there. So it definitely seemed like a really good amount of judges up there. But yeah, I wish we would have had Tim Gunn on the show, but it is what it is. But yeah, it definitely makes sense because Utica is going to be on, that they would do something drag inspired. And I feel like this show is also showing that, you know what, drag fashion goes beyond the standard drag look that everybody's always talking about, that there's more to, there's actual queens out here that are really wearing art on runways or in clubs and things of that nature. So why not express that? And we all heard stories that Utica makes a lot of outfits for the girls anyway. So him competing on the show makes a whole lot of sense. I would love to see him come back to RuPaul's Drag Race. But to be honest, I feel like Project Runway would be a better fit. You don't need to deal with all the stupid shenanigans that Drag Race puts a lot of their queens through, based off of how they always how they try to produce certain people to make it at certain situations and play in our face when it comes to other people. So I don't feel like they do that over there at Project Runway. That's really about competing and all that other stuff. Drag Race is a reality show. Who knows? Maybe we'll see that one day. I mean, it would be cool if we had her on there, but I don't know. I don't know what the hell they're doing over there at Drag Race, to be quite honest. So maybe one day we will get her on there. But anyway, so right, everybody, we are officially at the end of today's show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Once again, if you have not already, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I won't be on tomorrow or Saturday or Sunday. I'm going to be pretty busy this weekend. I'll be working and things of that nature. So I'll be back on Monday with a brand new show. Look out for all the clips and all the other stuff on the social media because I'll probably be editing up some of these shorts and posting it on the YouTube and things of that nature. But yeah, it's going to be a 3-day weekend yet again. I wish I was able to come on tomorrow, but business awaits. So yeah, I'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Love you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in, your consistent support, and until next time, ciao, darlings.